The martial arts competition is not just about enhancing the integration of young people from the three towns. As early as the preliminary and semifinal stages of the Hongmen competition, I had already organized the hunting team of the Great Xia to select team members, especially focusing on those young people from outside towns. These young people joining the hunting team of the Great Xia basically become part of the Great Xia. Along with their relatives, integrating into the Great Xia is just a matter of time. Lin Kai, finally nearing the end of his report, enumerated all the benefits. After realizing he might have overdone it, he clasped his hands and chuckled. Of course, it's not all benefits. Hosting this martial arts competition will cost at least 30 million taels of silver, which could be considered a downside. What kind of downside is that? Xia Hong interrupted him directly, waving his hand. Whether it's silver or supplies, even if they pile up in the warehouse, they're just a heap of dead objects. Only when spent can they truly serve their purpose. This martial arts competition is organized very well. It should be held every year henceforth, and the standards should only get higher. If you organize the competition well, the camp's revenue will only continue to rise. Understood, my lord. Receiving direct praise from Xia Hong, Lin Kai felt even more invigorated. All right, what about the hunting department? The hunting department director Luo Yuan immediately stepped forward, clasped his hands and said, My lord, currently, the hunting department oversees more than 50,000 hunting teams in total, including 1,822 advanced teams, over 10,000 intermediate teams, and nearly 40,000 low-level teams. Balance the hunting and gathering efficiency at various resource points. The hunting department has evenly distributed these more than 50,000 hunting teams across 91 posts below. Because of the integration of the three towns, I have also allocated 20% of the hunting teams specifically to hunt in the Mayan and Jiangxia towns, and this is expected to continue increasing in the future. Additionally, since last year, the hunting department has started to organize specialized fishing and hunting teams, but fishing and hunting are more challenging, so up to now, we've only formed just over 100 such teams. We will continue to improve in the future. From Xia Hong's current perspective, the extremely cold environment of the ice abyss has destined hunting and fishing to be an eternal theme for humanity. The reason is simple. The food humans grow cannot replace cold beast meat's position. It's a simple truth. A person cannot survive by just maintaining their vital signs. You have to adapt to and integrate into the environment and eventually evolve into a form suitable for survival in this environment. For ice abyss humans, the only way to adapt is to cultivate and become stronger. As long as you want to cultivate and strengthen, beast meat is an essential resource, which can never be replaced, even with other fruits and spirit plants that have better satiation effects. 1,822 Advanced Hunting Teams. Xia Hong nodded slightly, finally looking towards Yuan Dao. Understanding immediately, Yuan Dao stepped forward and clasped his hands. My lord, in the past year, the military department has not expanded its forces, maintaining the scale of 15 armies. However, in terms of soldier cultivation, there has been significant progress. As of August, according to returns from each army, all soldiers in the Dragon Slayer, Tiger Leopard, Xuanwu, Divine Marshal, and Longyuan armies have broken through to the cold resistance level. Over 70% in the Falcon Hunting, Mountain River, Xingwu, and Bijou armies have broken through. In the remaining Black Arrow, Qingjiao, East Sun, and Fei Peng armies, 50% have achieved breakthroughs. The soldiers in the Cloud, Jiao, Longwu armies almost all have strength above 6 manes. Well, the previous information was already shocking, but Yuan Dao's last sentence instantly set everyone abuzz. The soldiers in the Cloud, Jiao, Longwu armies all have strength above 6 manes. Leaving others aside, several people in the hall with military leadership immediately felt a sense of urgency surge in their hearts. The difference is indeed a bit too large. 7 military units at cold resistance level, with 4 more having 70% attainment, and 4 with 50% just within the military forces. There are over 12,000 individuals at the cold resistance level. The focus of Xia Hong was different from the others. After contemplating for a while, he immediately turned his head to look at Xia Chuan in the front row. Xia Chuan understood and immediately stood up, clasping his hands. My lord, as of August, the total population of the Great Xia has exceeded 2.78 million, with more than 17,800 at the cold resistance level, over 110,000 at the earth-digging realm limit, and these numbers are rising daily. Xia Chuan didn't even bother mentioning the number of people with earth-digging realm cultivation. Hearing these two figures, even Xia Hong couldn't help but brighten up. He remembered clearly that last September, the numbers for cold resistance level and earth-digging realm limit were 7,252 and 24,272, respectively. In 1 year, the number of people at the cold resistance level more than doubled. The earth-digging realm limit expanded almost fivefold. This rate of improvement is too astonishing. Simple population growth isn't enough to cause such an impact. It's mainly because of trade, which has diversified cultivation resources, allowing people at the camp to access more cultivation resources. As if fearing that Xia Hong might not be entirely pleased, Xia Chuan continued. I have observed that the increment in cultivation over this year has mostly occurred systematically, with breakthrough ages generally between 30 and 40, meaning we are still relying on the old stock. The breakthroughs among the new generation are just beginning. I anticipate after this year's martial arts competition, there will be a breakthrough wave, and by next year, at the latest the year after, which will be the 11th year of the Great Xia, there will be a massive breakthrough boom, at which time the number of cold resistance level individuals at the camp will exponentially increase by several times. The breakthrough boom hasn't officially arrived, but is nearing. In an instant, Xia Hong understood the implication of Xia Chuan's words, feeling immensely excited. When carefully contemplated, it's understandable. With over 17,800 at cold resistance level, but over 110,000 at earth-digging realm limit, this itself is a precursor to the breakout period. I know later than the year after next, these more than 110,000 at the earth-digging realm limit will inevitably start breaking through to the cold resistance level, and wouldn't that be exactly the breakout period that Xia Chuan mentioned? As Xia Hong's gaze shifted, the director of the governance department Yuan Cheng, the craftsmanship department director Mu Dong, the forestry department chief Cheng Feng, and the civil affairs department director Zhu Yuan all successively came forward to report on the past year's advancements and changes. Finally, the prison department director Li Tiancheng trembled slightly as he stood up, clasping his hands and speaking about the changes in the prison department. Seeing Li Tiancheng's frail appearance, Xia Hong's expression slightly contracted, noticing his frail body's vitality had dwindled to less than 10 manes, and a heavy feeling settled in his heart. He instinctively turned his head to glance at Li Xuanling beside him. Indeed, Li Xuanling at this moment looked at his uncle Li Tiancheng with an unusually gloomy expression. As if sensing Xia Hong's gaze, Li Xuanling turned to meet his eyes, recalling something, his eyes suddenly showing a glimmer of hope. With a slight sigh, Xia Hong waited for Li Tiancheng to finish speaking and then smiled, saying, with nearly 3 million citizens in the Great Xia enjoying peace and prosperity, the prison department has undeniably contributed greatly. Xia Law, Heavenly Prison, Prison Envoy, Punishment Department, Dossier System. Old Li, though without military achievements, has strained his heart and mind for the Great Xia with commendable diligence. Pausing briefly, Xia Hong continued, I hereby decree that Old Li is promoted to a 5th-rank Jink Viscount, effective immediately. Hearing this, Li Tiancheng's demeanor jolted significantly. Chapter 1319, Chapter 431, Deceitful Object Appraisal, Mastery Ascendant, Martial Arts Competition Finale. The surprises Xia Hong received after coming out of seclusion were far from over. After getting a general understanding of the 8 departments at the political debate hall, Xia Hong immediately took Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Lin Kai, Yue Feng, and Lu Yang along with Qiu Peng to the main hall of the camp's supply department. In the deepest part of the camp's supply department, there was a storeroom of about 200 square meters, filled with an array of dazzling supplies organized into different categories. Thousands of weapons hung on the 4 walls, the silver-made ones above the 10,000 forging level, the iron-made ones above the 10,000 forging level. Near the walls, there were hundreds of wine jars, which, judging from the ceiling level, must be quite valuable. In front of the wine jars were racks of Dan medicine, holding just over 50 types including dragon carp, green cod, black death, bone condensation, bone gathering. These were among the camp's most precious items, along with other things like special-grade beast skins, silk gauze, ores, etc. This storeroom was clearly designated for storing rare materials. Besides these materials, right in the center of the storeroom was a desk, on which 3 exceptionally conspicuous silver-made boxes were placed. Qiu Peng led Xia Hong and the others to the desk, then opened the 3 boxes one by one and began introducing them to Xia Hong. Inside these 3 boxes are deceitful objects that were delivered to the headquarters from Hongmen City this year. We've named them Shadow Demon Insect, White Blade Willow, Possession Pearl. At this point, Qiu Peng paused and turned to look at Lin Kai. Receiving the cue, Lin Kai immediately stepped forward, cupped his hands, and said, "Since last year's opening, outsiders have flocked to Hongmen City. Among them were quite a few deceitful monsters who repeatedly committed murder cases, causing numerous deaths. This year, with the cooperation of Director Yuan and Director Yuan, I, along with the Punishment Department, have cracked 3 cases: the chain decapitation, Snow Night Butcher, and daytime break-in. These 3 items were obtained after we killed the deceitful monsters." As Xia Hong listened to Lin Kai recount the details of the 3 cases, he reached into the silver boxes to inspect the 3 items, his eyes flickering with color. Shadow Demon Insect was a black jade-colored insect egg that liked to hide in light sources and used the refracted shadows to kill. The White Blade Willow was a willow branch about 20 centimeters long, resembling a blade, that impersonated a swordsman in the snow to kill. As for the last green Possession Pearl, it could attach itself to different people at will, preferring to act during the day, specifically targeting the possessed person's relatives and acquaintances for its crimes. Are these 3 deceitful monsters exclusively targeting those at the cold resistance level? Upon hearing Xia Hong's question, Lin Kai immediately nodded. Exactly. Although they initially killed some from the earth-digging realm, they later exclusively targeted those at the cold resistance level. We've pretty much concluded that these deceitful monsters choose more formidable targets as they grow stronger. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong's brows furrowed. This rule clearly didn't apply to the deceitful monsters he had dealt with before. Wood Puppet Monster, Yin Yang Mirror, White Dew Monster, Sumeru Nightmare, the 5 Great Masters. These deceitful monsters were known for indiscriminate mass killings. Even the Sumeru Nightmare above Twin Dragon Mountain captured a slew of cold beasts indiscriminately. They wouldn't specifically choose stronger targets to kill. After Great Xia integrated with the southern slope of Mo Mountain, it had actually learned a lot about deceitful monsters, including the categorization of deceitful monsters. But the pattern of how these monsters killed was indeed somewhat elusive. Actually, we're also a bit perplexed. These 3 deceitful monsters, no matter the means, can only exhibit strength at the cold resistance level. They would be considered intermediate deceitful monsters, like the Mirror Immortal and White Dew Monster, but they don't seem capable of large-scale massacres. They can only enhance their abilities by killing those at the cold resistance level. Xia Chuan also spoke up at this time. He clearly had studied these 3 deceitful monsters as well, and seeing Xia Hong's furrowed brow, he immediately guessed what he was thinking. Through the exchanges with the 8 towns, Great Xia was no longer entirely unfamiliar with deceitful monsters as it once was, and had long been aware that the low, middle, high levels of deceitful monsters correspond to the earth-digging, cold resistance, and Xianyang realms of humans. It seems that even among same-level deceitful monsters, their abilities vary greatly. Be extra cautious when you encounter them in the future, and habitualize carrying these 3 items: small torch, solidified fire oil, and yellow candle with you. Thinking of how the yin-yang mirror had been recognized by many deceitful monsters before, Xia Hong immediately shook his head, decided not to dwell on it, and instead instructed everyone. Understood. Originating from the ancient Abyss era, understanding the many mysteries concealed within these deceitful monsters was clearly beyond what he could achieve at this stage. Upon hearing everyone's response, Xia Hong turned to look at Lin Kai and smiled, asking, "Who killed each of these 3 deceitful monsters, and why doesn't anyone use them?" "The Shadow Demon Insect was killed by me, the White Blade Willow was captured by Director Yuan, and lastly, the Possession Pearl was defeated by Director Yuan. Director Yuan can't use it, and as for me and Director Yuan, the reason we don't use it is..." As Lin Kai spoke, he paused for a moment and showed a slightly embarrassed expression. They both looked down on it. Xia Chuan immediately laughed and answered for him, then continued to explain. "They're both desirous of the 3 masters' organs that the Lord brought back last year, hoping to eventually integrate with such deceitful objects that can enhance one's battle body talent." Upon hearing this, Xia Hong chuckled lightly but soon showed a hint of approval, nodding as he said, "Talent is important, it makes sense to wait." Chapter 1320. Chapter 431. Deceitful Object Pricing, Skill Transcendence, Martial Arts Competition Finale /2. This breakthrough to the mid-stage of Xianyang allowed Xia Hong to once again witness the immense gap caused by innate talent. At present, Great Xia has no Dan medicine to improve talent. It seems the only way to enhance talent is through deceitful objects. Qiu Peng, Lin Kai, and Yue Feng are all veterans from the Great Xia Slope period. Naturally, he hopes these three can go further in the future, so a wait is certainly no problem. Qiu Peng suddenly thought of something, and with a smile said, "Lord, the prices for these three deceitful objects have not been set yet. The three of them have been waiting for a long time." Upon hearing this, Xia Hong turned his head to see Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, and Lin Kai looking at him with eager expressions, and he couldn't help but smile. Until the price of the deceitful objects is set, the three of them wouldn't get their share of the corresponding contribution value. He placed the three deceitful objects into a silver box and immediately fell into contemplation. So far, the camp supply department has recorded deceitful objects from only the organs of the three grandmasters, and he previously set their price at 10 million. Looking at the value of these shadow demon insects, they are obviously not on par with the master's organs, so 10 million is certainly not suitable. Here's the deal. From now on, all deceitful objects harvested by the camp will be priced between 50 and 200,000 for low-level, 300 to 600,000 for intermediate, 700 to 1,200,000 for advanced. The exact price will be set by the camp's supply department according to the difficulty of hunting them. The greatest challenge in dealing with deceitful monsters is not actually their power, but rather their myriad strange methods. Some even possess a strong ability to manipulate minds, which ensures that hunting them is much more difficult than hunting cold beasts. Consequently, the price must be set higher. Everyone nodded immediately upon hearing this, especially Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, and Lin Kai, whose expressions showed slight excitement. With intermediate deceitful monsters priced between 300 and 600,000, after slaying these three deceitful monsters and contributing the most, they could get at least 15 million or more contribution value. Tab tab tab. Suddenly, someone rushed in from outside. "Greetings, Lord, greetings to all masters." Upon seeing Xia Hong and the others, the person immediately bowed in salute before hurriedly moving next to Lin Kai and saluting. "Lord Lin, the top 200 from the two martial arts competition groups have all entered the inner city. You should go host the finals." Hearing this, Lin Kai immediately looked up at Xia Hong. "You go ahead, I'll head over shortly to take a look. Then I shall take my leave and await the Lord's arrival to watch the competition." Hearing that Xia Hong would also come to watch later, Lin Kai's expression brightened slightly, and he quickly saluted and left with the person. After Lin Kai left, Xia Hong turned his head to Xia Chuan and asked softly, "Lin Kai's integration of the three towns is progressing well. What about you? I've tasked you with facilitating the alliance of the 9 towns. How is the progress? How much longer do you anticipate it will take?" Upon hearing this question, Xia Chuan's expression became serious, and he bowed in response. Since last year's resolution of the 3 towns' Chamber of Commerce murder case, the name Kai Q has already spread throughout the 8 towns. The reaction among middle and lower-level people in each town is quite intense. However, the response from the upper levels is not as intense, especially in the northern 3 towns. According to the spies' reports, Yang Zhun, Qin Feng, and Shang Yuan Yang initially tried to suppress and mitigate Kai Q's negative impact, strictly ordering that no one in the town should casually discuss Kai Q feudal town, including Duan Hong. But since Chui Mountain is relatively close to us, combined with the cooperation of the Mu family disciples and the old forces of Mu Long, Chui Mountain in the northern 6 towns has been the most deeply infiltrated by us. I have sent a large number of people to secretly incite sentiments, and currently, Chui Mountain Town holds a generally adverse attitude towards outer domain feudal towns. As for Cao Kainyang and Long Minjuan, they have yet to make a specific statement. In my observation, these two act based on the overall attitude of the town. As long as we can find a way to sway their middle and upper-level personnel, we can essentially influence these 2 lords. Coincidentally, under our incitements, the middle and upper levels of these 2 towns have become extremely wary of outer domain forces. At this point, Xia Chuan paused and then continued. In February and July of this year, I have twice dispatched envoys to persuade the northern 6 towns, without explicitly proposing an alliance, merely testing the waters. According to the envoys' feedback, Cao Kainyang and Long Minjuan have a certain alliance intention, and there is a chance to strive for Jin Mountain in the northern three towns, while Beishuo and Wuchuan have outright refused. As for Chui Mountain, there's no need to say more. Du and Hong seems steadfast in following Beishuo. Mu Long's old forces reported back that Beishuo has already begun sending large numbers of personnel to settle in Chui Mountain, clearly intending to guard against Great Xia. Upon hearing this lengthy report, Xia Hong immediately lowered his head and fell into deep thought. There's no need to dwell on Mayan and Jiangxia. Since the integration of the three towns started progressing, these two towns have no alternative but to slowly merge into Great Xia. According to Xia Chuan's account, most upper levels and all middle and lower levels in the northern six towns hold adverse attitudes toward outer domain feudal towns. This essentially forms the basis for an alliance, with the only remaining obstacle being the lords of the six towns. Not surprisingly, in an environment like Ice Abyss, a camp ruled solely and decisively by one lord is not unusual. This means that even if all middle and lower level personnel are willing to form an alliance, as long as the lord and certain core upper levels do not relent, ultimately, it would still be impossible. Mu Long already mentioned last year that Yang Zhun, Qin Feng, and Shang Yuan Yang have long been in contact with Chen Kang and likely have a good relationship. Otherwise, they wouldn't have invited those three Xianyang-level figures from Chen Kang last year. Outright refusal, without any intention to ally, indicates that Yang Zhun and Qin Feng probably have grievances with the feudal town long ago. Chapter 1321, Chapter 431, Deceitful Object Pricing, Transcendent Skillcraft Martial Arts Competition Finale, Part 3. Since that's the case, let's not worry about these two for now. Focus all your efforts on securing Yonk and Dragon Valley. As for Shangyu and Yang, I'll talk to him when I have time. Have Mu Long continue to speed up infiltration. We must get ahead of Beishuo and control Chui Mountain. Once Chui Mountain is secured, even if the 9 towns alliance can't be achieved, we can at least form an alliance of 6 or 7 towns. At that point, Yang Zhun and the others won't have a choice. Xia Chuan and the others immediately nodded heavily, clearly understanding Xia Hong's intent. By the way, Lord, we found out the true identity of the real culprit behind last year's 3 towns Chamber of Commerce murder case. The person, known in the 9 towns as Chen Yiking, is outwardly a resident of Guiyang Village in the Beishuo Donchuan district, but is actually from Chen Kang feudal town. He's connected to last year's Chen Kang little princess Chu Yanner. He's committed over a dozen crimes near Hongmen, killing nearly 200 people. His method is always the same: leave a survivor and alter their memory to stir discord between the 9 towns. How did you find out, and why wasn't he killed? Xia Hong's brows furrowed upon hearing, killing nearly 200 just to sow discord among the 9 towns. This Chen Yiking was obviously no good. Xia Chuan immediately explained how Lin Kai designed to lure out Chen Yiking, killed Chu Dongning, and followed with the matter of the Jai Hong siblings in detail. Xia Hong listened with a furrowed brow, not speaking until Xia Chuan finished, his voice somber. So Jai Hong likely deciphered his methods but was forced to go with him due to being held captive. Xia Chuan nodded immediately and signaled over to Lu Yang. Lu Yang stepped forward at once, clasped his hands, and said, "Reporting to the Lord, we can confirm that Jai Hong was indeed held captive. He himself is without blame. Mid-March, I received a message from Xia City and immediately sent people to investigate the situation in Guiyang Village, Donchuan District. My spies contacted Jai Hong in April. Chen Yiking, unaware that his identity was exposed, continued to live openly in Guiyang Village. During this time, Jai Hong sent us a lot of useful information until about a month ago, in late June, when Jai Hong sent a message saying Chen Yiking was taking him back to Chen Kang feudal town. I wanted to go rescue Jai Hong, but he refused. Due to Jai Jiang's death, he bore deep hatred towards Chen Kang and voluntarily proposed to infiltrate. I thought it good to have someone investigate Chen Kang's situation, so I did not refuse him." Jai Hong Jai Jiang. Thinking of the deep bond between the siblings, Xia Hong couldn't help but sigh softly. To provoke conflict between the 8 towns and us, Chen Yiking has killed so many, which can be considered a heinous deed. However, thanks to him, we could secretly fan the flames. All his dirty deeds have now been pinned on Kai Q, and the 8 towns now loathe Kai Q to the bone. Chen Yiking indeed played no small part. Upon hearing Xia Chuan's words, Xia Hong's mood slightly eased. "All right, the martial arts competition should be nearing its end. You all should go take a look. I'll head back to the star-picking hall to handle some affairs first, then check the competition later. Suddenly remembering something, Xia Hong issued an instruction, then disappeared from the other's sight. The Lord has probably only broken through to the mid-stage of Xianyang, right? It seems his strength has more than doubled since before. I bet Yang Zhen wouldn't last a single move against the Lord now. For sure, when the Lord just came out of seclusion, the aura was so intense it nearly suffocated me. Falling further behind, we must quickly push to the Xianyang level, or we won't even catch the Lord's shadow. Let's all encourage each other. Come on, let's go see how the youngsters are competing. Yes, let's go see. The Star-picking platform, Enlightenment Lotus platform. After leaving the camp supply department Grand Hall, Xia Hong returned here again. Resources: wood 1,372.61 million, coal 1,108.72 million, iron 1,262.51 million, silver 68.92 million. Looking at the abundant resources in the system, Xia Hong took a slight breath, a glimmer of gambler's spirit slowly appearing in his eyes. The sixth time, this time don't let me down. Transcendence. How exactly does transcendence work? Let me see. After murmuring, Xia Hong slowly closed his eyes, and the silver resource in the system instantly dropped by 100,000 points. With the consumption of silver, the silver 12-petal lotus platform beneath him radiated a strong light. Special Function 4. Can conduct skill transcendence once per year, requires consumption of 100,000 silver points. Success rate can reach up to 20% based on the user's skill level. The Enlightenment Lotus platform has 4 special functions. The 4th function Xia Hong has yet to understand. The Enlightenment Lotus platform was successfully upgraded in the 3rd year of Da Xia. The 1st year had a tight silver resource, and with 100,000 points at stake, Xia Hong naturally didn't dare to use it recklessly. By the 2nd year, Da Xia's silver resources became more abundant. Adhering to the principle that system-provided items are top-notch, Xia Hong naturally began to use it. Who knew his luck would be exceedingly unlucky? Once per year from the 3rd year of Da Xia, he's used it 5 times already, consuming a total of 500,000 silver points, and hasn't succeeded once. This is the 6th time. This time really must not fail again, it's unbearable. Chapter 1322, Chapter 431, Deceitful Object Pricing, Skill Transcendence, Martial Arts Competition Finale, Part 4. Extraordinary Skill Transformation. According to Xia Hong's understanding, it's like how Chu Yanner paints, where personal specialties can be transformed into extraordinary means. The problem is, he really doesn't know what his specialty is. Painting, brewing wine, forging, mining, playing the zither, playing chess, calligraphy. He can do a little of these, but to call them specialties, he's not quite there. My real specialty that I can surpass others at should be cultivation. It's impossible to make my cultivation extraordinary again, making my cultivation speed faster, right? Xia Hong felt the white light emitted by the Enlightenment Lotus platform continuously pouring into his sea of consciousness, and couldn't help but show a hint of anticipation on his face. If he could really make his cultivation specialty extraordinary, perhaps. Buzz. Soon, the white light completely flooded Xia Hong's sea of consciousness. And as a sound emerged from his sea of consciousness, Xia Hong was initially stunned, then his pupils burst with intense joy. Succeeded, the 6th time surprisingly succeeded. Law-level martial arts imitation and deconstruction. These words suddenly appeared in Xia Hong's mind, leaving him full of shock. Oh right, my specialty is the martial arts talent brought from my previous life. I actually forgot about this. Xia Hong realized suddenly and let out a silent laugh, shaking his head incessantly. Law-level martial arts imitation. Upon seeing any martial arts technique, what appears in the eyes are not the movements, but the trajectory of qi and blood, the principle of exerting force, and the rules of bodily meridian evolution. One glance can see through the core of the technique and all variations, achieving perfect replication while instantly pointing out the bottlenecks and flaws in the founder's initial creation of the technique. Law-level martial arts deconstruction not only can perfectly replicate, but can also automatically optimize to perfect form based on the understanding of underlying rules, instantly deducing a seamless perfect version, unleashing more powerful force. But soon, after reviewing his extraordinary martial arts specialty, Xia Hong's expression instantly became extremely excited. This What is this? Invincible regardless of the same strength, and even against opponents stronger than me, as long as there's no overwhelming superiority, I am invincible. Perfect replication, even replicating more perfect martial arts techniques, is actually nothing. The problem is seeing through the core of an opponent's technique at a glance. This martial arts ability is simply heaven-defying. It's equivalent to, as soon as someone makes a move, Xia Hong knows exactly what part of him the opponent intends to attack, and the follow-up moves are entirely under his control. Extraordinary, this extraordinary transformation is truly heaven-defying. Xia Hong's face was full of joy. He suddenly noticed something. Lifting his head to look at the entrance of the star-picking platform, his expression slightly halted. Li Xuanling, dressed in court attire, was looking at him with a worried expression, slowly speaking. I want to go over to the feudal town side to have a look. Xia Hong sighed softly, his body moved slightly, and in the next moment appeared in front of Li Xuanling, gently holding her. He whispered, "Don't worry, I plan to go to the feudal town this time after this retreat. You just broke through, stay home and consolidate your cultivation first. Xia Chuan hasn't broken through yet, he definitely can't handle it alone. Xia City still needs your watch." Saying this, seeing that Li Xuanling didn't show any reaction, he changed his tone and continued. Yu Yao and Yu Sheng are just 6 years old. Can you really leave them in Xia City to cultivate on their own? Li Xuanling's expression finally softened a bit, but she was still unwilling to give up and continued. But uncle can't wait much longer, Don't worry, I'll set off in 2 days at the latest. If there are Dan medicines that can extend life at Chen Kang and Kai Q, I will risk everything to get them for you, all right. Upon hearing this, Li Xuanling bit her lip, glaring at Xia Hong. Are you serious about that? I don't want you to risk anything. Get it if you can, if it's too difficult forget it, I guess uncle can't hold on much longer. Xia Hong thought of Li Tiancheng's condition, sighed softly, looking down at Li Xuanling's beautiful eyes already filled with tears. He couldn't help but use a little more force as he hugged her. Rest assured, as long as it's there at feudal town, I'll get it for you. In front of the inner city main hall, the 2 platforms were intense with battles. As each contestant landed and was eliminated, the 2 groups, advancement slots and subsequent rankings were announced one after another. The top 10 list for the youth group is out. Luo and Luo Cheng, Lu Dong, Liu Peng, Zhao Yuanwu, Murong Yan, Zhu Ping, Zhao Yan, Chen Ping, Zhang Yichen. Next we'll see them compete for the top 10 ranks. The top 10 list for the young adult group is also out. Zhao Yuando, Zhao Yuankong, Yuan Bai, Tai Xinchuan, Zhou Yilong, Zaihu Qingqing, Zhao Hen, Fu Tiandu, Zhou Ying, Meng Qing. There are only 4 people from outer town, right? Only 4, just Murong Yan from Mayan. Jiangxia has Zaihu Qingqing and Jiang Yichen. The last one, Fu Tiandu, is from the outer realm. I heard he only came from a village-level camp. Amazing. He managed to make it to the top 10. How does the final compete? Both groups adopt a game challenge point system. First, draw lots to select 3 battlers. 3 battlers have 2 challenge opportunities. The other 7 each have 3 challenge opportunities. 1 point for successful defense or attack. No points for failure after finishing. Rank by points. Isn't this unfair? What about marathon battles? Do you think you're smart? Others couldn't think of it. Healing and chi blood replenishing Dan medicines are placed on the side of the platform. Whoever needs it can use it. No one gets any advantages. I see. The champion of the youth group, I guess it's Luo and or Lu Dong. These 2 have too strong cultivation and strength. Others will have a hard time. What about the young adult group? The young adult group is less clear. It seems hopeful for everyone. Tai Xinchuan and Zhou Yilong have age advantage, but Zhao Yuandao and Zhao Yuankong as siblings are extraordinarily strong, plus Zhao Hen is also good. I estimate these 5 could all win. Those 4 from outer town, do they have no chance at the championship? Joking, this is a competition organized by Great Xia, letting outer town people win the championship. How would that look? True, the Lord and all the grown-ups might be watching. Letting outer town take the championship wouldn't make sense. Hurry, watch, it's starting. Chapter 1323. Chapter 432. Shattered Star Sword, Yellow Mustard Bag, Departure Preparations, Rankings and Rewards. While the inner city was ablaze with excitement over the martial arts competition finals. On Xia Hong's side, he had quietly arrived at the artifact refining pavilion. Yu Dong had long been waiting on the top floor of the artifact refining pavilion. Seeing Xia Hong come over, he immediately led him toward a quiet chamber deep inside. Inside the quiet chamber, there were a total of 10 weapons displayed. Aside from Dragon Sparrow and Cold Blood, the remaining 8 were 3 longswords, 2 long staves, 1 ring-headed saber, 1 mo blade, and 1 long spear. With a look of excitement, Mu Dong began introducing them to Xia Hong. Starting from the year before last, the camp's silver stockpile has been getting bigger and bigger, so I figured I should forge a few more handy weapons for Lord Xia. Last year, Lord Xia brought back a lot of special ore from the Jiaolong nest. I picked out the 10 best materials from them, completely reforged Lord Xia's Dragon Sparrow and Cold Blood blades as well as Madam's Heavenly Transformation sword, and on top of that, I forged 7 brand new weapons. Taking advantage of the pause while Mu Dong was talking, Xia Hong had already examined the 2 weapons of his that had been reforged. Dragon Sparrow and Cold Blood were still at the 10,000 forging level. But unlike before, Dragon Sparrow's appearance now had a faint golden hue, and its weight had gone from just over 1 million caddies to more than 3 million caddies. Cold Blood's appearance was still that same blood jade, like glassy color. It was originally cast from cold marrow iron, and could keep increasing in weight by devouring cold beast blood. When it was reforged for the first time the year before last, Xia Hong had used it to drive away that red carp monster in the Huayuan waters, and by then it already weighed over 1.7 million caddies. After this round of reforging, it was even more outrageous. It now weighed over 5 million caddies. This heavy. Seeing the shock in Xia Hong's eyes, Mu Dong chuckled and said, "It's kind of interesting, actually. Among the batch of ore that Lord Xia brought back from the Jiaolong nest last year, there was cold marrow iron as well, 7 pieces of it. The lightest was 1,200 caddies, and the heaviest was over 23,000 caddies. For this reforged Cold Blood blade, just the main material alone used a total of 50 million caddies of iron ore as for auxiliary materials, besides 5 million caddies of silver. We also used the largest piece of cold marrow iron, and then we used fierce flame to lacquer over 100 caddies of ink pig oil on the outer layer. In the whole 9 towns, you probably won't find a weapon better than Cold Blood." Hearing Mu Dong declare that last line with such confidence, Xia Hong couldn't help but give the Cold Blood blade in his hand a light swing. Whoosh! With just that light swing, a violent gale instantly whipped through the quiet chamber. Mu Dong staggered backward several meters in a row and almost got blown right out the door. Hadiohata. Seeing the embarrassed look on Mu Dong's face, Xia Hong couldn't help but laugh. "I told you back in September last year to hurry up and improve your strength. Now you see the gap, don't you? From now on I won't even dare test a blade in front of you." Mu Dong looked utterly helpless. This subordinate has actually improved quite a bit over this past year. It's just that Lord Xia is too strong. I fear that even if we spend our entire lives, we'll never be able to catch up to you. Hadiohata. Hearing that bit of flattery, Xia Hong let out a few more laughs, but he didn't keep picking on him. Last year Mu Dong had only 18 zong of strength. Now he was at 25 zong. For his aptitude, improving by 7 mained in a year was indeed no small gain. It showed that he had taken last year's admonition to heart. Xia Hong put Dragon Sparrow and Cold Blood back, then swept his gaze over the remaining 8 weapons, finally stopping at the last longsword. Madam's Heavenly Transformation sword was originally only at the 10,000 forged level. Strictly speaking, instead of reforging it, I basically recreated a new one following the original style. This new Heavenly Transformation sword uses materials similar to Lord Xia's Dragon Sparrow saber, 30 million caddies of iron ore, plus 3 million caddies of silver. In addition, we used a special ore called Cold Light Iron, also brought back by Lord Xia from the Jiaolong nest, and lacquered a layer of ink pig oil on the outside. It'll be just right for Madam to use when she comes out of seclusion this time. Mu Dong had clearly noticed the look in Xia Hong's eyes, but he still smiled and deliberately kept up the suspense, introducing all the other weapons first, deliberately leaving that black longsword Xia Hong was focused on for last. Seeing him intentionally string things along, Xia Hong didn't get impatient. He simply followed along with his explanations and examined the remaining 6 weapons one by one. The other sword was called Duan Yue. The 2 long staves were named Kingshan and Coiling Dragon. The ring-headed saber was White Dragon, and the Mo blade was Po Jun. As for that last long spear, it was named Han Kang. All 6 weapons were at the 10,000 forging level. Their main material was iron ore, but even the least of them consumed over 1,000,000 caddies of silver as auxiliary material, and they all had special metal ore smelted into them. Whether in toughness, hardness, or sharpness, they far surpassed other weapons of the same level. And finally, the last one. For this last shattered star sword, Lord Xia, try it yourself first. Xia Hong walked up to the last black longsword, waiting for Mu Dong to introduce it, but instead the latter simply pointed at the sword, signaling for him to pick it up and have a feel. With a strange look on his face, Xia Hong walked up to the rack and reached out to pick up the sword. This weight. The moment he lifted it, Xia Hong's expression changed. By his perception, the shattered star sword actually weighed over 20,000,000 caddies. For this shattered star sword, just the iron ore used as the main material came to 150,000,000 caddies, supplemented by 10,000,000 caddies of silver, plus a metal ore called mystic light armor that Lord Xia brought back from the Jiao Long Nest. Starting from last September, I mobilized over 500 cold resistance level blacksmiths, practically taking turns working around the clock without sleep for more than 10 whole months before we finally forged a sword embryo at the 10,000 forged level. Mu Dong's expression was abnormally excited. As if recalling the hardships of forging this longsword, his tone turned slightly wistful. If the minister hadn't stepped in midway and helped cast a puppet specifically for hoisting the sword embryo, we might not even have been able to complete the subsequent casting. Chapter 1324, Chapter 432, Shattered Star Sword, Yellow Mustard Bag, Preparations for Departure, Rankings and Rewards, Part 2. At this point he paused slightly, then his expression turned excited as he said, "That mystic light armor not only increases toughness and weight, it can also greatly enhance the sharpness of the blade. We smelted a ring of mystic light armor around the sword body and focused on filling the blade with it. As for how sharp it is, I estimate." SHHA. By now, Xia Hong had already slowly drawn the shattered star sword from its scabbard. The instant he drew the shattered star sword, Xia Hong immediately sensed clearly that the sword itself weighed just over 20,000,000 jin, and the remaining more than 1,000,000 jin was the weight of the scabbard. That's right. This shattered star sword, even its scabbard was made from 10,000 forging level iron. The blade of the shattered star sword was black just like the scabbard, but its surface was densely dotted with countless tiny, brilliant specks of light, like the night sky after the stars had been shattered, truly worthy of the name Shattered Star. Xia Hong subconsciously lifted his head and glanced at the other 9 weapons. Mu Dong immediately realized what Xia Hong was thinking and hurriedly tried to dissuade him with a tense look. "Lord, you must not. It won't be too late to test the sword once you're out in the wilderness." Relax, I'm not that extravagant." Xia Hong laughed and motioned for Mu Dong not to worry. Every 10,000 forging level weapon required an enormous investment of manpower and resources to forge. To use them just for testing was pure rich man behavior, and Great Xia didn't have that kind of financial strength yet. "Lord, please come with me." Looking at the shattered star sword, the more Xia Hong looked, the more he liked it. In the end, he didn't put it back on the rack, but kept it directly in his hand. Then he looked at the other 9 weapons and singled out the coiling dragon stick as well. Taking the 2 weapons, Xia Hong followed behind Mu Dong to the inner side of the quiet room, stopping in front of a desk. When he saw what lay on the desk, his expression instantly hardened. On that desk, there was a square yellow stone slab laid out flat, 2 meters to a side. Visually, it was indeed a stone slab, yet as Xia Hong looked at the whole slab, his eyes inexplicably felt a sense of chaos. He couldn't help reaching out to touch it. The texture was also indeed that of stone. Where was this sense of chaos coming from? Mu Dong's face was full of smiles. After Xia Hong finished touching the slab, he actually stepped forward, lifted the entire slab up, and very quickly folded it into the shape of a bundle. The stone slab was folded into a bundle. Seeing this scene, a guess immediately surfaced in Xia Hong's heart. With a look of delighted surprise, he asked, "So this isn't a stone slab but cloth?" Mu Dong nodded excitedly, then suddenly thought of something. He went to the other side of the quiet room and brought back 2 10,000 forged giant axes, and right in front of Xia Hong, stuffed the axes straight into the bundle. The handles of those 2 giant axes alone were more than 2 meters long. Counting the axe blades, the total length was at least close to 3 meters. Yet the round bundle in Mu Dong's hand had a diameter of at most 1 meter. The giant axes were actually completely loaded into the bundle. A storage bag. Those 3 words flashed quickly through Xia Hong's mind, and he couldn't hide his excitement. He hurriedly reached out to take the bundle from Mu Dong, then, looking incredibly thrilled, reached in to feel for the giant axes inside. Among the many ore the Lord brought back from the Jiaolong nest, the most precious should be this yellow mustard stone. It actually has the effect of expanding space. Containers made from it have a real capacity 10 times that of their physical volume. The craftsman department had actually managed to make a storage bag. Looking at the storage bag in his hand, Xia Hong's face was mixed with shock and intense joy. He had already probed the space inside the bag. It was about 5 cubic meters, indeed roughly 10 times the bundle's own volume. How much yellow mustard stone does it take to make a bundle like this? The ore brought back from the Jiaolong nest last year had been too much, and Xia Hong had even forgotten which one the yellow mustard stone was. Thinking of how useful storage bags were, he immediately asked the key question. The helplessness on Mu Dong's face already told him the answer. That piece of yellow mustard stone weighed just over 60 jin in total. This piece of yellow mustard cloth used nearly 10 jin. We also forged 3 wine flasks for the Lord, which used another 15 jin, and now there are only 36 jin left. Like presenting a treasure, Mu Dong took out 3 gourd-shaped wine flasks of different colors from the side and put them straight into the bundle. Xia Hong took out the 2 giant axes from the bundle, then put the shattered star sword and the coiling dragon stick inside. Only then did he turn his head to look at Mu Dong, his expression a bit odd as he said, "Pulling all these tricks, you knew I was going out, didn't you?" "Exactly." Mu Dong chuckled, then said, "This subordinate knew nothing. It was the minister who hinted to me that after the Lord left seclusion this time, you'd probably be heading out alone to scout the strength of the feudal towns. With the mountains high and the roads long, you ought to have something handy on you. The yellow mustard bag, plus these 3 wine gourds, so the Lord can still sip summer wine from time to time on the road. Wouldn't that be delightful? I'll borrow your good omen then. These 2 items really are quite good." At his words, a smile appeared on Xia Hong's face. He lightly hefted the yellow mustard bag twice to feel its weight, and a look of understanding flashed in his eyes. Rather than a storage bag, it was more like a holding bag. Once the shattered star sword and coiling dragon stick were put inside, the yellow mustard bag's weight immediately shot up. This was far from the storage ring type function he'd known in his previous life. Even so, it was already quite good. A normal bundle, even if it could fit 2 weapons, would be impossible to carry on the back. This yellow mustard bag perfectly solved his travel problem. All right, as for the remaining 8 weapons, aside from the dragon sparrow, cold blood, and the heavenly transformation sword, the other 5 can be sent directly into the camp supply department's armory. Have Qiu Peng bring people to set a price. Later, whenever someone in the camp breaks through to the Xianyang level, they can start using them first. Chapter 1325. Chapter 432. Shattered Star Sword, Yellow Mustard Bag, Preparations Before Departure, Rankings and Rewards /3. As you command. Weapons at the 10 million forging level weigh at least tens of millions of pounds, which means they are measured in tons. It's said that even those who have just broken through to the Xianyang level might find it somewhat difficult to wield. Xia Hong is an exception. Normally, those in the early or even mid-stage of Xianyang level primarily use weapons at the 10,000 forging level, and only those with late-stage cultivation might consider using those at the 10 million forging level. So these 5 weapons are perfect for Xia Chuan and others to use after breaking through to the Xianyang level. Weapons at the 10,000 forging level don't need to be forged as stock anymore to avoid unnecessary expenditure of manpower and resources. From now on, they will be made to order. Everyone starting to break through to the Xianyang level can order from the craftsman department. Discuss the pricing with Qiu Peng. I understand. After Xia Hong gave instructions, he turned to the east of the artifact refining pavilion. A hint of a smile appeared in his eyes as he said, "The rankings are out. I was supposed to go watch the matches, but I guess I've missed them. All right, I'll head over first." "Farewell, Lord." Mu Dong bowed deeply, and when he raised his head, he realized Xia Hong had already disappeared. He heard noises coming from the front of the main hall and showed a trace of regret. Martial arts competition is such a grand event. It's a pity Yanner and Fenger are both over 25 years old this year. If they could participate and win a place, they would have had a chance to make an impression in front of the Lord. His eldest son Mu Yan is 31 this year, and his second son Mu Feng is 28. Both have exceeded the age limit for participating in the competition. In front of the inner city main hall, all the stages had been removed, leaving only the central arena. At this moment, on both sides of that arena stood 10 people each. The 10 people on the left were noticeably younger, mostly under 20. The faces on the right looked slightly older. The top floor porch of the main hall extended outward generously, with a golden chair placed there, obviously prepared for Lord Xia Hong, but it was empty at the moment. And in front of the chair, Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Su Ning, Luo Yuan, and other high-ranking members of Great Xia were all present, whispering about the just-ended match. Everyone below, Lin Kai ascended to the arena, glanced upward at the main hall above, where Xia Hong still hadn't arrived, showing a bit of disappointment on his face. But he quickly adjusted his mood, looked at the tens of thousands of spectators below, and said with a smile, "The points rankings for the two groups are now released. Next, I'll announce the rankings for the 8th Great Xia Martial Arts Competition." Lin Kai paused, turned his head to look at the group of young people on both sides, and raised his voice to continue. The top 10 in the youth group are Lu Dong, Luo and Liu Peng, Zhu Peng, Zhao Yunwu, Luo Cheng, Xiao Yan, Chen Ping, Murong Yan, Zhang Yichen. The top 10 in the young adult group are Tai Xinchuan, Zhao Yuando, Yuan Bai, Xiao Hen, Zhou Ying, Zhao Yuankong, Zhou Yilong, Meng Qing, Fu Tiandu, Zaihu Qingqing. As soon as the rankings were announced, the audience below erupted. As expected, the 4 from the outer town ranked at the bottom. Of course, the 4 have used up all 3 challenge chances without earning any points and lasted the shortest time, so they could only be at the bottom. I didn't expect Lu Dong to win first place in the youth group. Lu Dong broke the logging realm record at a little over 10 years old, and last year, with top-grade battle body talent, he broke through to the cold resistance level. Upon breaking through, he had the capability of over 4 main strength, and now near 8 mained. It's quite normal for him to win the championship. Lu Dong is impressive, and Luo and isn't bad either. He also has a top-grade battle body, now nearly 8 main strength, but his martial arts skill is a bit lacking, losing by a narrow margin. Liu Peng's strength is about the same as theirs. Being in the top 3 is anticipated, as their talent and strength are quite similar, so it's all down to martial arts skill. Tusk, these folks all under 20, and their strength already reaches 7 or 8 mained. Scary indeed. Yuyan's Murong Yan's strength near 7 mained is actually quite good, but unfortunately met with these geniuses of Great Xia. Why are you all focused on the youth group? The young adult group is more frightening. The champion Tai Xinchuan already has 18 main strength, and he's not even 25 yet. The younger they are, the greater their potential. I believe the 10 in the youth group will achieve more in the future than those in the young adult group. Makes sense. Lord Lu, your brother is strong. Hahaha, the Zhao family having 3 people on the list, that's truly enviable. Luo and is the son of Director Luo. Indeed, tiger fathers have no ill-gotten sons. Xiao family also has 2 on the list. The minister's father-in-law will surely be ecstatic. Xiao Hen is the minister's brother-in-law. Congratulations to the minister are indeed necessary. Hahaha, Luo Cheng, I recall he's Luo Ming's son, right? Yes, I remember Luo Cheng from the first martial arts competition when he entered the top 100 with wood-cutting realm cultivation. I knew then that he would shine brightly in the future, and it was proven true. That Chen Ping, he's also the son of Chen Ying. I recall he's about to turn 20 with a strength of 6 mained, but his combat talent is amazingly high. As the audience below buzzed with excitement, the upper dorm of the main hall, Xia Chuan and the high-ranking members of Great Xia were just as animated in their discussions. And at this moment, it was only natural that Lord Lu became the subject of everyone's congratulations. Because his brother, Lu Dong, is this year's champion. This year's martial arts competition undoubtedly held much more significance than previous years. Introducing young talents from outer towns was just a minor factor. The main reason was the new age grouping rule. Chapter 1326, Chapter 432, Shattered Star Sword, Yellow Mustard Bag, Departure Preparations, Rankings and Rewards, Part 4. The Great Xia has always grouped competitors based on their cultivation levels, usually dividing them into Cold Resistance Level, Earth Digging Realm Limit, and Earth Digging Realm. Honestly, this makes the competitions much more exciting, though not as rich in topics. The young people are absolutely the most watched group at all camps. Plus, their pursuit of rankings on these lists far exceeds that of ordinary people. Geniuses are inherently focal points, not to mention that Great Xia provides a platform for all young people to showcase themselves publicly. Instantly, everyone who came to the inner city to watch the competition today fell into heated discussions. Next comes the rewards for the top 10. However, the heated discussions were quickly interrupted. As Lin Kai began to announce the rewards, everyone, including the 20 young people standing on the stage, couldn't help but breathe heavily. Youth Group Champion, 500,000 taels of silver, 30 Yangyuan pill, 1 customized 10,000 forged weapon, 50 pounds of refined salt, 10 pounds of top-grade spiritual wine, 50 meters of silk, 5 pounds of beast king level blood, 20 pounds of beast meat, 1 suppression talisman. Runner-up, 400,000 taels of silver, 30 Yangyuan pill, 1 customized 10,000 forged weapon, 40 pounds of refined salt, 8 pounds of top-grade spiritual wine, 40 meters of silk, 4 pounds of beast king level blood, 15 pounds of beast meat, 1 suppression talisman. Third place, Teen Group Champion, 300,000 taels of silver, 30 Yangyuan pill, 1 customized 10,000 forged weapon, 50 pounds of refined salt, 10 pounds of top-grade spiritual wine, 50 meters of silk, 5 pounds of beast king level blood, 20 pounds of beast meat, 1 suppression talisman. Runner-up, 250,000 taels of silver, 30 Yangyuan pill, 1 customized 10,000 forged weapon, 40 pounds of refined salt, 8 pounds of top-grade spiritual wine, 40 meters of silk, 4 pounds of beast king level blood, 15 pounds of beast meat, 1 suppression talisman. Third place. The rewards for the top 10 in both youth and teen groups are mostly the same, except for the varying amounts of silver. The higher the rank, the richer the rewards, and they gradually decrease, with the 10th place receiving only 100,000 taels of silver, and the other rewards significantly discounted. Yet even so, after Lin Kai finished reading the rewards, everyone below instantly fell into a dead silence, breathing heavily. Great Xia strictly controls silver resources, and families are not allowed to hoard silver. Unlike other camps, the Xia people still prefer to measure wealth with contribution value. At the camp supply department, 1 tael of silver can now be exchanged for 10 contribution value points, meaning even the 10th place's silver reward can be directly converted to 1 million contribution value points. Converting the other 8 items, the total value of those rewards is at least around 2 million contribution value points. The youth group champion, Tai Xinchuan, earns at least 6 million points in one go. Not just those listening below, even the 20 people standing on the stage clearly hadn't expected such astonishing rewards. Their expressions instantly froze. After a long time, the 20 finally reacted, simultaneously bowing their heads, paying homage to the Lord on the main hall, and shouted in unison. Greetings, Lord. May the Lord reign for 10,000 years. May Great Xia endure for 10,000 years. Greetings, Lord. May the Lord reign for 10,000 years. May Great Xia endure for 10,000 years. It wouldn't be surprising if it were just the Xia offspring, but even the 4 from outside towns, including Xiahu Qingqing, followed suit in bowing down, with no visible sign of anomaly on their faces. This scene naturally made the smile on Lin Kai's face grow even broader. His expression suddenly froze as if hearing something, swiftly looking up toward the main hall, realizing the chair was still empty, and quickly understood something and said with a smile, "You 20 are lucky today, go up the hall to meet the Lord." Upon hearing Lin Kai's words, a group of young people's expressions turned incredibly excited. Especially Lu Dong, Lu Owen, Liu Ping, Zhu Ping, Zhao Yuandao, Zhao Yuankang, and so on. Those great Xia young people who have idolized Xia Hong since childhood, their faces turned rapidly red with excitement, and without thinking walked toward the main hall stairs. Only the last person from the youth group had hesitation in his eyes. But seeing everyone quickly walking toward the main hall, he could only grit his teeth and follow. "Don't go, you can't go up. You were the one who wanted me to compete, and now you know fear. Running is impossible, you'll just die faster, I have no other choice. You better hide well, if discovered, we're both doomed." Fu Tiandu followed behind the youth group, looking at the glittering main hall, unlike others full of excitement. His face was full of tension and unease. However, aside from these, deep within his pupils, there seemed to be a trace of hope. This trace of hope was deeply concealed by him, almost impossible to see. Chapter 1327, Chapter 433, Martial Arts Competition concludes, Cat Demon and Bearing, East Ridge's Defeated People. Top Floor Political Debate Hall. Under the leadership of the two champions Lu Dong and Tai Xinchuan, two groups, totaling 20 people, formed two columns and walked in one after another from outside the hall. Inside the hall were massive gold and silver dragon-entwined load-bearing pillars, a majestic circular golden dome above, exquisite jade bone sculptures on either side, and on the high platform inside, the golden chair symbolizing the pinnacle of power in Great Xia. Everything in the grand hall, Lu Dong, Lu Owen, Liu Peng, Zhao Yuandao, and other titled family scions were naturally familiar with. From the moment they walked in, their gaze remained on those high-ranking officials of Great Xia standing on either side of the hall. While Tai Xinchuan, Yuan Bai, Zhou Yilong, the three ordinary scions of Great Xia, as well as Jiang Yichen, Murong Yan, Fu Tiandu, Zaihu Qingqing, the four scions from towns outside, were different. When participating in the preliminaries and semifinals in Hongmen City, they had already experienced the wealth of Great Xia. Today, when they entered the inner city, they were shocked once again, thinking they had mentally prepared themselves. But as they entered the main hall at this moment, they truly realized that all their prior mental preparations were nothing but a joke. The 8 load-bearing pillars, with a diameter of over 3 meters, clearly extended upward from the bottom of the main hall, including the depth of the ground pile, which meant a height of at least 40 meters. Although painted in pure gold on the outside, it was clear they were cast from 100 forged iron. Assuming a diameter of 3 meters and a height of 40 meters, entirely made of 100 forged iron, even roughly calculated, each load-bearing pillar would have consumed tens of thousands of tons of iron ore, and the entire hall had 8 of them. This is almost the amount of a mini iron mine. The key is that each of these 8 load-bearing pillars is carved with a silver dragon, their twisted bodies coiled around the pillars, their heads converging at the dome, glaring down with red eyes, as if scrutinizing these 20 people, lifelike to the extreme. Silver dragons, each with no less than a 30-meter body, requiring at least over 10 million pounds of silver for each. Adding in the efforts of casting and carving, leaving aside manpower and material resources, just the level of craftsmanship alone is beyond comparison with the other 8 towns. So Hongmen is merely a display window for Great Xia. Only upon reaching Xia City or entering this hall can one glimpse their true pinnacle level. Jade bone is such an important cultivation resource, to be used as sculpture decorations, is in itself a manifestation of immense financial strength. No wonder they can dispatch so many hunting teams to Jiangxia town to hunt. An advanced hunting team is probably nothing in Great Xia. The youth group, Jiang Yichen, and the young adult group, Zaihu Qingqing, both held their breath as they took in everything within the hall. Just 5 meters apart, they couldn't help but exchange glances, seeing amazement and shock in each other's eyes. What's interesting is Murong Yan. Murong Yan, upon first entering the hall, was captivated by the surroundings for a moment, but soon her gaze shifted to Yuan Dao, standing second on the left side of the hall. Her gaze was so blatant that Xia Chuan and others noticed it immediately, and they couldn't help but exchange curious looks towards Yuan Dao. Yuan Dao, however, remained calm. Despite feeling Murong Yan's gaze, he continued to stare straight ahead, expression unchanged. Ha ha ha, these are this year's outstanding talents from the 3 towns, quite impressive. Seeing Yuan Dao maintaining such a serious demeanor, Xia Hong couldn't help but laugh, but he quickly remedied it with a compliment. Greetings to the Lord, greetings to all the esteemed. The 20 people below also reacted at this moment, immediately bowing to Xia Hong and the others under the lead of Lu Dong, Lu Owen, and Tai Xinchuan. Lu Dong, Lu Owen, Zhu Ping, Zhao Yuanwu, Luo Cheng. None of these are unfamiliar faces. I remember clearly the year before the founding, you were all still at an age where you wet your pants, and in a blink of an eye, over 10 years have passed. Now not only have you all grown up, but you also have cold resistance level cultivation. Xia Hong looked at the front row of Lu Dong, Lu Owen, and Zhu Ping, with genuine emotion on his face. Among these children, he had the deepest impression of Lu Owen and Zhu Ping. He remembered clearly, back when they hadn't yet reached cold resistance level, these 2 little ones were not even 6 years old and loved to peek at him practicing boxing. Now, 10+ years have passed in a blink, and the 2 are almost 20, grown men now. Hearing Xia Hong's description of them wetting their pants, naturally Lu Dong, Lu Owen, and the others showed a bit of embarrassment in front of their elders, but soon they recovered. However, the sixth member of the youth group, Luo Cheng, looked up at Xia Hong above, his emotions exceptionally stirred. Xia Hong quickly noticed Luo Cheng's gaze and, remembering their brief master-disciple relationship in the beehive, flashed a faint, encouraging smile, first nodding slightly to him, then glancing at the 16 great Xia scions below, and continued with a smile. The outcome of a competition doesn't mean much. Cultivation lies in perseverance. Cold resistance level is just a starting point. How far you can go in the future, become stronger, surpass your elders, or even me, depends on your future performance. 16 top-grade war bodies talent-wise, you are not inferior to anyone. Resource-wise, today among the 9 towns, there should be no one who can compare with you. Chapter 1328. Chapter 433. End of the martial arts competition. Cat, Demon, and Bearing, the defeated East Ridge Group /2. This Lord hopes that you will not squander your talents. May your path of cultivation be steady and prosperous, advancing step by step. Strive to become the backbone of the camp and establish a more solid foundation for the great Xia in the ice abyss, and add more momentum to our human clan's conquest of winter. Having been a lord for over a decade, Xia Hong effortlessly delivered these words meant to stir emotions, immediately igniting the spirits of Lu Dong, Luo En, and others below him. Luo En couldn't help but bow and say, "I will remember the Lord's teachings for life. Long live the Lord, long live the great Xia." The others immediately followed suit, bowing and saying, "We will remember the Lord's teachings for life. Long live the Lord, long live the great Xia." Rise, today, besides the 16 disciples of the great Xia, there are also 4 people from other towns. Please come forward and introduce yourselves so this Lord can get to know you. Xia Hong waved his hand, signaling Lu Dong and the others to rise, and then turned his gaze towards the 4 unfamiliar faces in the crowd. Murong Yan and the other 3 stepped forward as soon as they heard Xia Hong's words. "Murong Yan from Mayan Town. My father is Murong Yuan. Greetings to Lord Xia Hong. I have long heard of the name of the Pearl of Mayan. The little girl's swordsmanship is quite good. The number 1 in swordsmanship in the great Xia belongs to Director Yuan Dao of the military department. The little girl might want to seek his guidance more often." Hadohata. With this remark, Xia Hong made everyone present burst into laughter. Murong Yan blushed instantly, but despite her blush, she showed no sign of awkwardness. She turned her head and stared straight at Yuan Dao, mustering up her courage. "I would be honored. I just wonder if Director Yuan is willing to guide me." "Ha, he will certainly guide you after this is over." Even Xia Hong couldn't help but laugh. After laughing, he gently waved his hand to signal Murong Yan to step back, and then turned his gaze to the last 3 people. Jiang Yichen from Jiangxia, a 5th-generation descendant of the Jiang family, with Jiang Xinfen as the family patriarch. Zaihu Qingqing from Jiangxia, a 5th-generation descendant of the Zaihu family, with Zaihu Zhang as the family patriarch. Direct descendants of the Jiang family and the Zaihu family, no wonder they possess such high talent. The young Jiang Yichen possesses a top-grade battle body talent with a current strength of 5 manes. The young Zaihu Qingqing's talent is slightly inferior, being only a top-grade war body, but her strength is already above 9 manes, clearly taking advantage of her age. Descendants of noble families, indeed remarkable. Xia Hong only gave an 8-character evaluation before focusing his attention on the last person. Interestingly, as soon as he spoke, Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, Yuan Cheng, Qiu Peng, and others all turned their attention to the last person. It's over, they have found out. With so many eyes on him, how could Fu Tiandu not notice? As the previous 3 people introduced themselves, he noticed clearly that Xia Chuan and the others hardly turned their heads. But when it was his turn, everyone turned to look at him. Probably when I entered the hall just now, my shocked reaction was half a beat slower than the others. These people are really too keen. Fu Tiandu was exceedingly nervous at this moment, but he could only grit his teeth and cup his hands. "Fu Tiandu from Outer Domain Xia Village, greetings to the great Xia Lord." Fu Tiandu, 19 years old, cold resistance level cultivation, strength of 10 manes, native of Jinshan Town, Yin Valley, extreme east Outer Domain Xia Village, entered Hongmen City on November 26th in the 8th year of Da Xia, currently residing at number 182, West District, Hongmen South City. A reclusive lifestyle, likes to keep to himself, rarely interacts with outsiders, financially well off. In fact, there was a dossier on Fu Tiandu placed on Xia Hong's desk. Seeing this dossier, Xia Hong lowered his head examining Fu Tiandu. He raised his eyebrows first and then thought of the deliberate, shocked expression the lad had put on when he entered the hall earlier. His heart stirred slightly, and a flicker of light flashed across his left eye. "What's going on with that cat demon on your chest?" Fu Tiandu was in a state of high alert at this point. Hearing Xia Hong's question, he was initially dumbfounded, and then he trembled violently and fell to his knees. "Lord save me, Lord save me." Fu Tiandu didn't mean to deceive. "It's just that this cat monster is too powerful, ah." Halfway through his words, Fu Tiandu seemed to be interrupted by something, letting out a miserable howl that startled Zaihu Qingqing, Murong Yan, and the other young people, who all stepped back. "What the hell? This kid is carrying a deceitful object. What a wicked beast, even dared to sneak in here." The response from Xia Chuan and others was rather intense. They swiftly drew their weapons and rushed forward to encircle Fu Tiandu. "No need to panic, step back." But Xia Hong showed little reaction, first motioning for everyone to step back, then continued watching Fu Tiandu, who was undergoing beast transformation, with a strong sense of curiosity arising in his eyes. This is, after all, the great Xia main hall, not to mention Yangsu Tripod. Nearly every high-ranking member present, including Xia Chuan, wore the suppression talisman, let alone the hall full of silver. That deceitful monster, being able to sneak in with Fu Tiandu, is astonishing enough, yet it could still act in front of them, making Fu Tiandu transform. Huh. Seeing Fu Tiandu's increasingly severe beast transformation, with silver-white fur growing all over his body, Xia Hong could remain seated no longer. He disappeared from the main seat and reappeared beside Fu Tiandu the next second, grasping his arm. Chapter 1329, Chapter 433. The martial arts competition ends. Cat Demon and Presence defeated East Ridge Group /3. Xia Hong's gaze slightly tightened, and his entire body's blood and energy suddenly surged, instantly enveloping the entire hall with a powerful oppressive force. In that instant, not only Lu Dong, Lu Owen, and the others, but even Xia Chuan, Yuan Dao, and the rest of the high-ranking officials were all overwhelmed, gasping for breath, looking up at Xia Hong, their eyes full of astonishment and shock. The pressure faced by Fu Tiandu, who bore the brunt of it, was unimaginable. His body kept trembling, his transformation had long ceased. After 3 or 4 breaths, he suddenly looked up at Xia Hong, his eerie silver eyes filled with agitation. Whoosh! Noticing that the change originated from the tattoo on Fu Tiandu's chest, Xia Hong did not hesitate and suddenly shot a strong light from his left eye, directly striking his chest. The strong light struck his chest, and Fu Tiandu immediately opened his mouth to let out a sharp and shrill scream, clearly a woman's voice, completely unrelated to his previous sound. After the scream, the silver-white fur on Fu Tiandu's body rapidly faded. Whish! Just as the fur completely disappeared, a silver light suddenly flew out from his chest, rushing directly towards the door of the hall. "Want to run after coming in?" Xia Hong's face flashed with a sneer, and his body disappeared again, reappearing in front of the silver light the next second. He didn't even use a weapon, but directly reached out and slapped the silver light forcefully. Bang! Meow! A sharp cat's cry sounded, and the silver light suddenly landed, smashing directly into the floor of the main hall. Fortunately, Xia Hong used some skillful force, otherwise it would have directly smashed through the entire main hall. "Cat Demon, it's the cat demon that stole from the Hongman's silver vault." Lin Kai, on the left side of the hall, had his expression change as soon as he heard the sound. When he saw clearly that Xia Hong had smacked a silver-white kitten onto the ground, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Lord, our Hongman City in December last year and this February." Seeing Xia Hong's confused expression, Lin Kai immediately explained, quickly recounting the 2 previous silver vault thefts in Hongman City. "The cat demon that steals silver." Xia Hong extracted the case keywords described by Lin Kai, his face full of curiosity becoming more pronounced, especially when he noticed the cat demon's body on the ground turning into an ordinary silver cat figurine in no time. He let out an exclamation. He picked up the silver sculpture from the ground, and with a slight force, it directly broke into 2 halves. A silver substitute, interesting. Closing his eyes, Xia Hong used the ancestral spirit mother and child steel to swiftly perceive the entirety of Xia City, inside and out. After detecting no disturbances, he pondered for a moment before turning his head to look at Fu Tiandu on the ground. Not only could it infiltrate the main hall, but Xia Hong had clearly sensed just now that the cat demon was a corporeal deceitful monster, turning into an ordinary silver sculpture after being killed, clearly not an ordinary monster. Fu Tiandu had already awakened at this moment, and noticing Xia Hong's gaze on him, he instinctively knelt on the ground, a bitter expression on his face. I beg the Lord for mercy. This lowly one did not intend to deceive. It's truly because this cat demon controls my life and death. Entering Hongmen to participate in the martial arts competition was all this cat demon's coercion, as well as the 2 silver vault thefts in Hongmen earlier, were also its doing. It stole a total of 6 million taels of silver from the Hongmen vault in 2 instances. This lowly one was beguiled and used 1 million taels myself. First tell me, what's up with this cat demon? Xia Hong directly interrupted Fu Tiandu's words, inquiring about the cat demon's situation. Fu Tiandu seemed resigned and directly cupped his hands. This cat demon is called Jiu Ming. It seems to be able to enhance its strength by utilizing silver and can plant a feline plague in others. This plague usually hides within the body and is hard to detect, but once it erupts, it quickly causes transformation, turning one into a man-eating monster. This lowly one got entangled with it on my way to Hongmen City. Jiu Ming, meaning 9 lives, and this being killed only to turn into a silver substitute, is just a way to protect its lives. 9 lives, able to slip into Xia City, proving it's not afraid of solidified fire oil, not only unafraid of silver, but also able to enhance its power through silver. Hearing this, Xia Hong's brows slightly furrowed, finding it somewhat troublesome. Do you know how many people he infected with the feline plague? Fu Tiandu hurriedly cupped his hands. In Hongmen City, about 60 people. It was through my body that it released the plague, so I know. I can take you to Hongmen now to identify those 60 people. Xia Hong's brow furrowed as he gave Lin Kai a glance. Lin Kai had long been expressionless, and upon receiving Xia Hong's look, he immediately walked quickly towards Fu Tiandu, clearly intending to take him back to Hongmen for identification. Fu Tiandu seemed to realize something, and quickly bowed his head in supplication. This lowly one intended no harm. It was all forced by this cat demon. I beg the Lord to spare my life. I beg the Lord to spare me. When did I say I was going to kill you? Xia Hong directly interrupted Fu Tiandu, staring at him for a while before shaking his head slightly. The cat demon stole a total of 6 million taels of silver, and you voluntarily admitted to using 1 million taels yourself, so you should bear the loss of that 1 million taels. Stay in Great Xia, and when you make up the loss of that 1 million taels of silver, you will be a free man. Hearing this, Fu Tiandu was taken aback, then showed a touch of emotion, his tone exceedingly grateful. Thank you, Lord, for your mercy. This lowly one is eternally grateful. Jinshan Town, Yin Valley, Extreme East Outer Domain Xia Village. Is that truly where you're from? Chapter 1330, Chapter 433, End of the Martial Arts Competition, Cat Demon and Bearing, the Defeat of the East Ridge Disciples, Part 4. Fu Tiandu heard Xia Hong's question, and his body instantly stiffened. He recalled the oversight when he first entered the hall, a bitter expression slowly appearing on his face. He opened his mouth, as if wanting to say something, but the words swallowed back, his face full of hesitation and conflict. Enough. If you don't want to say, forget it. Lin Kai, take him to Hongmen, find those infected by the cat plague, and also use the yellow candle to check them again. We can't let any trouble occur in the city. At your command. Lin Kai immediately bowed, picked up Fu Tiandu and was about to walk out. Just as he reached the hall entrance, he seemed to remember something. He turned to Xia Hong and asked, Lord, if Fu Tiandu himself has issues, should his 9th place ranking in the youth group martial arts also be voided? Fu Tiandu, who was being carried, heard these words and a hint of bitterness appeared on his face. But thinking about finally getting rid of that cat demon, he still felt a slight relief in his heart. The gain is fortunate, to lose is no need. His talent and strength are indeed good. The 9th place was earned by his own skill. There is no reason to void it. Upon hearing this, Fu Tiandu's expression froze instantly. He thought he had misheard and looked up sharply at Xia Hong. Didn't he owe 1 million taels of silver? The reward can be calculated against the debt, which means he's already partially repaid, and the rest can be paid back slowly. Xia Hong really did not void his ranking, and was even willing to convert the reward into silver, counting towards his debt repayment. Fu Tiandu looked at Xia Hong, his face full of emotion. I understand. He wanted to say more, but Lin Kai didn't give him the chance. After bowing to Xia Hong, Lin Kai directly led him out of the hall. "All right, you all can go down now." Xia Hong sat back in the main seat and waved his hand to dismiss Lu Dong, Luo En, and the others. After the young people left, he spoke to Xia Chuan. There was not a hint of surprise when he entered the hall. Stayed so long with the deceitful monster and still is fine. This Fu Tiandu's background should not be simple. Keep an eye on him, see when he's willing to speak honestly. Understood. Xia Chuan immediately nodded and agreed. He had also noticed Fu Tiandu's abnormality. Even if Xia Hong hadn't mentioned it, he would follow up to observe. "All right, the martial arts competition is over. I need to make a trip out, you all." Upon hearing Xia Hong starting to give instructions before his departure, Xia Chuan and the others showed no sign of surprise, evidently already mentally prepared. In her city, Lu Mansion Side Hall. 7 young people were gathered together, their faces full of frustration and unwillingness. All 5 of us, and yet none made it into the top 100. It's not surprising the cultivation difference is there. I watched the youth's top 100 competition. Those ranked over 90, even if not at the cold resistance level, their basic strength was at least above 1 Zheang, meaning they at least have superior battle body talent. Among our 5, the strongest, senior brother Zhu, only has a basic strength of over 98,000 Jin now. How could we make it into the top 100? The juveniles are all too strong. Clearly of similar age, yet so different. Don't even mention the top 10, even those ranked over 50, mostly have cold resistance level cultivation, with strength at least 2 or 3 Zheang. The gap is too big. Luo En, Luo Cheng, Zhu Ping, Xiao Yan. Thinking that we even competed against these 4 back then, now I fear even the 5 of us combined would lose to any one of them. That year, among the 5 people brought by Master, there was also Zhao Yuanchen. I just checked the list, and Zhao Yuanchen was ranked 38th. The young of Great Xia are hitting us with a dimensional strike. I doubt Beishuo Town can find that many talents like this. No doubt it can't. After Zhu Beixu, Bai Wuji, Wan Qingyu, Nai Shen, and Yang He finished speaking, they all turned their heads to the 2 people seated above. Finally, Bai Wuji couldn't resist speaking. First senior brother has a mid-stage cold resistance level cultivation, 5 Zheang strength, yet only ranked 78th in the youth group. This is too outrageous. Second senior brother's strength is similar to his. It was tested in East Ridge. The difference between them is negligible, yet here he's ranked 99th, nearly falling off the list. Proves the competition is too fierce. I looked at the youth group's list. Except for the top 10 monsters, the others' strength doesn't vary much. Most are between 5 to 8 Zheang. It's martial arts and combat talent that tip the balance. Often, it's a single move that decides the outcome. Upon hearing the words of the 5 junior brothers below, Lu Yun and Han Li exchanged a glance, recalling the confidence before leaving East Ridge, and the promises made to their master Lu Yang to definitely enter the top 3. They couldn't help but shake their heads, faces full of bitterness and embarrassment. No wonder the master always said we were far behind. His younger brother, Lu Dong, is only 18 this year. The youth group champion, he's the younger brother of the master. You didn't know yet. No surprise, now it all makes sense. Learning that the youth group champion Lu Dong is Master Lu Yang's younger brother, Zhu Beixu and the 5 were first surprised, then showed a hint of realization, repeatedly expressing no surprise. Chapter 1331, Chapter 434, Making Friends Departure Baning Sword Master Arrival at Jinyang. Among the 7 people present at this moment, the most heavily impacted is undoubtedly Lu Yun. Lu Yun is 21 years old this year and has been under the tutelage of Lu Yang for nearly 5 years. Not only has he been a disciple the longest, but in terms of strength, he is indisputably the first among Lu Yang's 7 disciples. His second junior brother Han Li, who joined last year, is 2 years older than him. His cultivation is currently at mid-stage cold resistance, with a strength of 5 tufts, which is extremely close to Lu Yun's, but the 2 had already crossed paths in East Ridge, and the final result was that Han Li slightly lost by a margin. It can be said that Lu Yun's greatest reliance on securing the position of the senior brother in East Ridge is his strength. Having been under Lu Yang's tutelage for nearly 5 years, not to mention the Jingxi district, he has even been to Beishuo City several times, because he has seen many geniuses of the same age, and even fought against quite a few of them over the years. Lu Yun's confidence has inflated even more in recent years. especially this April, Beishuo, in order to counteract the influence brought by the Great Xia martial arts competition. Specifically, let the inspectorate take the lead in organizing a martial arts contest, gathering all the young talents under the age of 25 from the town and the 7 districts. Lu Yun also participated and ultimately ranked 12th with a strength of 4 toughs. It can be said that apart from the Yang family and a few elites from the town's nobility, all the young talents from the 7 districts of Beishuo were defeated by him. His mentor Lu Yang's reputation has risen rapidly in Beishuo in recent years, especially last March, when in a battle with Zhu Yang, the dean overseeing Jingxi district, he defeated him in 3 strokes, earning the title of Baning Sword Master. Due to his mentor Lu Yang's fame, as his senior disciple, Lu Yun achieved the good result of 12th place in the martial arts contest in Beishuo this year, and he was crowned with the title of Little Sword Chief of Baning by idle talkers. These events have undoubtedly accelerated Lu Yun's inflation of self-confidence dramatically. This May, when his mentor Lu Yang openly revealed to them his identity in Great Xia and stated his intention to take them back to Great Xia for the martial arts competition, Lu Yun immediately guaranteed by pounding his chest that he would do his utmost to strive for the top 3, and if not possible, at least to enter the top 10, so his mentor could elevate his reputation in Great Xia. Upon hearing his words, his mentor merely smiled with a peculiar expression. At that time, Lu Yun couldn't understand why his mentor had that reaction. Now that the martial arts competition is over and the results are out, he has suddenly realized. With such limited strength, he shamelessly boasted about entering the top 3. His mentor didn't ridicule him on the spot, which was already an effort to maintain his dignity. 78th place. If it were purely about cultivation, my 78th place would even be inflated. Second junior brother has a strength of 5 toughs, which is similar to mine, yet he ranked 99th. Not to mention further back, I saw even beyond the 100th place, there are those with strength above 5 toughs, which means my 78th place is assisted by martial arts and combat talent. The moment Lu Yun spoke, the others immediately quieted down. Han Li listened, shaking his head with a bitter smile, saying, "Senior brother, you're still unaware that the descendants of Great Xia who participate in the martial arts competition were all restricted in strength. If the restrictions were lifted, their actual strength could increase by another 30%. What? Upon hearing Han Peng's words, not only Lu Yun, but Zhu Beixu and the other 5 instantly stood up, looking at him with disbelief. It was Lu Dong, our junior uncle, who told me this directly during the martial arts competition. I think he has no reason to deceive me. Upon hearing this, Lu Yun and the other 6 fell into silence. What does the ability to increase strength by another 30% imply? It's one thing for Zhu Beixu and the other 5 since they didn't make it into the top 100 anyway. The issue is with Lu Yun and Han Peng, who, if the descendants of Great Xia were not restricted, they both probably wouldn't have made it into the top 100 at all. Why are you all sitting here in a daze? Amid the silence of the 7, Lu Dong swiftly walked in from the side hall entrance, dressed in black. He wore a friendly smile as he entered the hall, quickly surveying the 6 excluding Han Peng. Greetings, junior uncle. Inside the hall, Lu Yun and the 7 others saw Lu Dong walking in and immediately paid their respects to him respectfully. Since Lu Yang is their mentor by seniority, they should call Lu Dong junior uncle. After completing the salute besides Han Peng, who had already met Lu Dong, Lu Yun and the 6 others then raised their heads to carefully observe their junior uncle, who, despite being younger than them, possessed profoundly immeasurable strength. Lu Dong, clad in black summer attire, was not wearing the longsword used in the competition. With a faint smile, although he did not emit any aura at the moment nor bore any arrogance on his face, recalling his valiant performance in the ring and his title as champion of the youth group, Lu Yun and the other 6 couldn't help but feel a sense of inferiority and unconsciously lowered their heads slightly. Brother Han, didn't we agree just now? Why are you calling me junior uncle again? Lu Dong then spoke again, first reproaching Han Peng with a playful tone, then smiling at Lu Yun and the 6 others, saying, "You're all my brother's disciples, he's him and I'm me. We're not much apart in age, so let's refer to each other as brothers henceforth. Don't call me junior uncle anymore, you're making me feel old." Upon hearing such affable words, Lu Yun and the 7 immediately developed a fondness for Lu Dong, especially looking at his face, which bears a 7-part resemblance to their mentor Lu Yang's youthful visage. An unwarranted sense of closeness arose. On the ring, I only had brief contact with Brother Han, and it's my first time meeting the rest of you, so let me guess you are Brother Lu, Brother Zhu, Brother Bai, Brother Wan, Brother Nai, Brother Yang. Isn't that right? Chapter 1332, Chapter 434, Making Friends, Setting Out, Baning Sword Master, Arrival at Jinyang, Part 2. Seeing Lu Dong accurately say their surnames, Lu Yun and the 6 others immediately showed a hint of surprise on their faces, clearly all perplexed. Lu Dong laughed heartily and said, Big Brother has already told me about you all and mentioned that it's your first time in Xia City. He insisted I treat you well. We've all been busy with the martial arts competition these days, so I haven't had a chance to find you. Tonight, you managed to enter the inner city, and now that the competition is over, I've asked my sister-in-law to prepare a feast for you in the main hall. Follow me. Let's eat first. After dinner, I'll take you for a tour around the inner city. Without waiting for the 7 to respond, Lu Dong directly led the way towards the main hall. Lu Yun and the other 6 exchanged glances, showing a touch of surprise on their faces, but they quickly followed him. The younger brother of their master, this prodigy of Great Xia, was apparently much more approachable than they had initially expected. Especially for Lu Yun, who was walking at the front, as he recalled those wealthy family scions he encountered in Beishuo City, he couldn't help but think upon seeing Lu Dong's back. Compared to those people in Beishuo with their noses in the air, this kind of young master is the real scion of a distinguished family. Even Han Li, who is usually cool and composed, couldn't help but feel a bit of goodwill when he looked at Lu Dong ahead. Brother Lu, just how large is the territory of Great Xia? We traveled over 100 kilometers from the East Ridge secret passage just to reach Xia City, and Master said this is only a tiny part of Great Xia's territory. Is that true? Brother Lu, Master has a Dingyang army. The day we descended to Hankyang, we saw at least 500 cold resistance level soldiers. Master says the Dingyang army ranks lowest in strength among all the armies in Great Xia. Is that true? I don't believe it. Half the troops at cold resistance level, that strength surpasses even the defensive army of Beishuo. How could it rank at the bottom? Master must be modest. The other 5, including Zhu Beixu, didn't need to say more, quickly keeping pace behind Lu Dong, cheerfully asking about things in Xia City. The territory of Great Xia covers over 20,000 square kilometers. Since Big Brother brought you to Xia City for the martial arts competition, you'll gradually learn more about it. As for the Dingyang army's rank, it likely is at the bottom. Currently, Great Xia has 15 armies in total. Since Big Brother Liu Yang brought 7 disciples to his inner city home, they're now considered official members of Great Xia. Naturally, Lu Dong didn't hide anything, immediately answering Zhu Beixu's question. Upon hearing his answer, Lu Yun and the others naturally showed expressions of surprise, gaining a deeper understanding of Great Xia's strength while posing even more questions. Lu Dong led the 7 to the main hall, where they took their seats, and he remained open and forthcoming, thoroughly satisfying their curiosity. Come on, let's have a drink first. After we eat, I'll take the 7 of you to tour the various parts of the inner city. Big Brother has already instructed that you 7 will stay at the residence tonight. Sister-in-law has prepared guest rooms for you. Lu Dong raised his goblet and drank it all in one go, watching as the 7 also picked up their cups and began to drink, feeling a slight stir in his heart. With the martial arts competition over, I'll formally join the Dingyang army. Big Brother will likely place me in the reconnaissance camp, and in the future, I'll operate under a different identity in East Ridge. It's best to establish good relations with Big Brother's 7 disciples beforehand to make things easier when at East Ridge. The 9th year of Great Xia, August 6, daytime. North of Xia City, Arrow Bamboo Forest area. A party of 4 slowly advances northward, braving the severe cold. The leader, dressed in a black cotton coat, carries a tan-yellow bundle. Despite not being well-dressed, his every move exudes the aura of an authoritative figure. He looks back at the person half a body length behind him, smiling. I heard from Xia Chuan you've earned the title of Baning Sword Chief, renowned throughout the Beishuo region. Is that true? A pretentious title made by those seeking fame, causing Lord to laugh. Hearing Liu Yang's modest reply, Xia Hong laughs and waves his hand. No need to be modest. With your current 46 main strength, excluding the holy pattern, few in the northern 3 towns can surpass you, except for those at the Xianyang level. The Baning Sword Chief title doesn't carry enough prestige. I'd say it should at least be the Jinxie Sword Chief, or perhaps boldly, Beishuo's sword chief wouldn't be out of the question, ha ha ha. When leaving the pass last night, Xia Hong noticed Liu Yang's 46 main strength. In terms of cultivation, few in Great Xia except Xia Chuan's 57 main and Yuan Dao's 54 main can decisively defeat him at the cold resistance level. Yuan Cheng and Su Ning's strengths are on par with his, not much difference. Without exaggeration, factoring in the Great Xia sacred pattern, Liu Yang's true strength in Beishuo town is undoubtedly unbeatable below the Xianyang level. Being titled Beishuo Sword Chief doesn't overstate his capabilities. Upon hearing this, Liu Yang's face revealed a touch of confidence, but catching Xia Hong's implied meaning, he promptly responded with a cupped hand salute. Rest assured, Lord. Despite my title being Baining Sword Chief, my penetration range into Beishuo over the past 6 years with the East Ridge crew far exceeds the Baining Mountain area alone. As Liu Yang detailed all his activities over the past 6 years in East Ridge, Xia Hong's eyes glowed more brightly, his expression of satisfaction towards Liu Yang increasingly evident. Chapter 1333, Chapter 434, Making Allies, Setting Out Baining Sword Master, Arrival at Jinyang Part 3. The cold Jade secret tunnel was opened in the 3rd year of Great Xia. According to this timeline, Liu Yang's infiltration in Beishuo town has lasted for 6 years now. In 6 years, with the backing of Great Xia, Liu Yang has been able to accomplish quite a lot. According to Liu Yang, he has already firmly controlled all 7 villages on Baining Mountain. As for the remaining 28 villages in Jingxi district, not only has he placed his own men in all, but also seized critical weaknesses from their senior ranks. Although these villages aren't completely under his control like the 7 on Baining Mountain, they are now almost all afraid to go against East Ridge. Moreover, the tentacles of East Ridge have begun extending towards Linya and He Valley districts. Besides this March's incident with Chen Yiking, this April, he even sent men to infiltrate Danchuan district. After hearing Liu Yang's overall briefing, Xia Hong bowed his head in contemplation for a moment, then asked, I remember Beishuo has a total of 7 districts, namely Zhengyang, Danchuan, Baimu, Quling, He Valley, Linya, and Jingxi. The district's Beishuo town prioritizes expansion towards the north of Zhengyang, Danchuan, and Linya. Is that correct? Liu Yang nodded immediately and responded, You have a good memory, my lord. These 3 districts are actually all north of Jingxi, but in terms of position, Linya is directly north. Zhengyang is northeast. Danchuan is slightly further east, considered the extreme northern border of Beishuo, almost bordering Mo Mountain. Starting from the northern border of Beishuo town, heading north along Mo Mountain for about 50 kilometers, one can see a massive lake called Yan's Lake. Passing through Yan's Lake leads to a region shrouded in red mist, known as Blood Miasma Plain. Beyond Blood Miasma Plain, one arrives at Chen Kang. Xia Hong recalled what Chu Yanner said last year, and considering Chen Yiking's identity from Guiying village, a cold smile appeared on his face. You said last night that Chen Yiking went back to Chen Kang in late June. Liu Yang immediately nodded and said, According to the message left by Jai Hong before he left, Chen Yiking was accompanied by someone of Xianyang level before his return to Chen Kang, presumably a special escort. Just as the Lord suspects, the route to Chen Kang should be very dangerous, most likely impossible for those at cold resistance level to traverse. At this point, Liu Yang's face showed a trace of concern, hesitatingly said, Lord, perhaps it would be safer if I accompany you on this trip. Should there be any danger along the way, I can explore it first. Xia Hong shook his head and chuckled lightly, Who said I'm going to Chen Kang? Upon hearing this, Liu Yang was momentarily stupefied. Not only him, but even Xia Chuan and other senior figures of Great Xia unanimously assumed Xia Hong was definitely going to Chen Kang first. It was only now that he realized Xia Hong's current target was not Chen Kang. After a moment's thought, Liu Yang's face quickly showed a look of approval, nodding strongly. Indeed, still the Lord's foresight is comprehensive. August happens to be when Kai Q contacts Han Peng for intelligence. Today is only the 5th. Kai Q should have somebody coming to Jinshan town soon. As long as the Lord waits in Jinyang village until Kai Q's man arrives, then follows him to Kai Q feudal town, it would indeed be much safer. Liu Yang also knew about Chu Yanner's matter. The minister had said, the route the woman provided was absolutely unsafe, which is the reason for his concern about Xia Hong going to Chen Kang alone. With Xia Hong now targeting Kai Q, he suddenly realized that Great Xia's current understanding of the feudal towns involves not just Chen Kang, but also another one, Kai Q. Speaking of Han Peng, Lu Yang suddenly turned to look behind. Han Li, it's been almost a year since you last returned to Jinyang village, hasn't it? The two behind him were his senior disciple Lu Yun and his junior disciple Han Li. Upon hearing the question, Han Li immediately nodded and replied, "Yes, master, it has been nearly a year since I last went back." Now Xia Hong also smiled, turning to look at the two behind him. Lu Yun and Han Li, noticing Xia Hong looking at them, their expressions suddenly became a bit tense. When they departed from Xia City, Lu Yang had unexpectedly brought along a young man who seemed younger than them. At first, they didn't know Xia Hong's identity, but seeing how respectfully their master treated him, they faintly guessed that his identity must be no ordinary. Before leaving the city, Xia Hong hadn't spoken at all, so they thought this person might be some kind of offspring of great Xia Lord or something similar. It was only when Xia Hong and Lu Yang started talking that they learned the young man in black in front of them was, in fact, the current South Ridge dominator of Mo, the strongest in 9 towns, great Xia Lord Xia Hong. The realization had kept them in a state of shock, merely following in a daze behind without even hearing what their master and Xia Hong discussed. One top-grade battle body, one superior battle body, you've enrolled these two disciples well. Upon hearing Xia Hong's praise, Lu Yang smiled immediately, cupping his hands and said, "Lu Yun counts as a buried genius. I am fortunate to have discovered him by chance after taking over Bai Song 6 years ago. As for Han Li." Speaking of Han Li, Lu Yang's expression slightly froze. Strictly speaking, Han Li was his pawn for controlling Han Peng, but after nearly a year of companionship, they formed a genuine master-disciple relationship, making the truth difficult to reveal. "This time I'll accompany the Lord to Jinyang village, Han Li. You will come back with me. Didn't you achieve the 99th place in martial arts competition? Return to see your grandfather, tell him the news, let him rejoice for a while." Chapter 1334. Chapter 434. Making Connections, Setting Off, Baning Sword Master, Arrival at Jinyang Part 4. Han Li's expression immediately brightened at the words, and he nodded emphatically. Although Lu Yang's change in expression was subtle, Xia Hong noticed it and immediately understood why Lu Yang reacted that way. With a smile, he waved his hand and said, "This time when I go to Jinyang village, I don't need you to accompany me. Just let Han Li accompany me." At that, Xia Hong paused and lightly laughed as he asked Han Li, "The 99th place in the youth group of the martial arts competition, have you received all the rewards for it?" Being asked personally by Xia Hong, Han Li's expression became somewhat excited. He quickly nodded and bowed, saying, "Reporting to the Lord, 50,000 taels of silver, 5 Yangyuan pills, 1,000 forged weapons, refined salt, and other items were all given to me. I've already converted all the silver into contribution value and exchanged it for cultivation resources." "That's good. I've heard about your grandfather. He will certainly be very happy to know that you have improved so much this year and received so many cultivation resources." Putting aside Han Li's excited reaction for now, Lu Yang, who was standing nearby, had already come to his senses and nodded silently in his heart. The investment great Xia made in Han Li was not insignificant. Not to mention the bond of master and disciple formed over the year, just the rewards from this martial arts competition were enough to turn Han Peng's heart back. Judging from the financial power Han Peng demonstrated in Hongmen City last year, Kai Qiu hadn't invested much in him, at least not compared to great Xia. It's also good to let Han Li accompany Xia Hong alone. Lu Yang was generally confident in his disciple, but he had to be wary of Han Peng. But then again, since Xia Hong was personally going, if Han Peng had ulterior motives, his demise would be quite miserable. Do not give up monitoring Guiyang village in Dongchuan. Chen Kang is now the only line heading south to 9 towns. If they do have any movements, the first to respond will definitely be here. Any situation must be reported to Xia City promptly. Lu Yang immediately bowed and whispered, "Worry not, Lord. In March, I had Hu Bingsjin Han team spread out and lurk in various places throughout the Dongchuan district. Inside Guiyang village, we already have 2 spies. If there's any movement, I can receive the news at the first instance." Xia Hong nodded lightly and then asked, "Have you stationed people in Jinyang village as well?" Lu Yang immediately nodded. "I stationed the Zheiyuan squad there, and, speaking of which, their captain, Li Hu, the Lord should have some impression right." "Li Hu?" Xia Hong pondered for a moment, then smiled and asked, "Is it Li Hu from Longshan Li family?" Lu Yang nodded and said, Captain Li Hu and Deputy Captain Yang Zhang. Both young individuals are quite commendable. In the third year of De Xia, when they first arrived at East Ridge, I recall both only had earth-digging realm limit cultivation, and their basic strength was less than 45,000. Zheiyun's squad was just a low-level squad. 6 years have passed, and these two are now notably different. Captain Li Hu broke through to the cold resistance level with a basic strength of 120,000 pounds and possesses superior battle body talent, currently in late-stage cold resistance cultivation, with strength of 18 zong. Deputy Captain Yang Zhang's talent is slightly weaker, only intermediate battle body, currently also in late-stage cold resistance cultivation, with strength of 12 zong. Their Zheiyuan squad was promoted to an advanced team last year, and at the end of last year, I dispatched them to Jinyang Village. Li Hu has a nimble mind and has already mixed into the position of deputy leader of Jinyang Village. Xia Hong laughingly nodded at this, remembering clearly that when they managed to conquer Long Mountain, Li Hu and Yang Zhang played very significant roles. Though Li Hu would never admit it, he indeed was the son of Li Xuanqiang, with Longshan Li family blood running through him, making him simultaneously the great-grandson of Li Tiancheng and the nephew of Li Xuanling, so he should call Li Xuanling aunt. Calculated in that way, he was technically Li Hu's uncle. Breaking through with 120,000 pounds, superior battle body, now having 18 zong of strength, seems like Li Hu is indeed quite diligent. While chatting, Xia Hong lightly increased his pace. Of course, he still took care of the 3 people behind him. This time he decided to walk, primarily to chat extensively with Lu Yang about the situation in Beishuo along the way. If he truly wanted to haste, he would have flown directly to Beishuo. Lu Yun Han Li, come over. Seeing the package on Xia Hong's shoulder, Lu Yang interrupted his speech and suddenly called Lu Yun and Han Li over, then suggested to Xia Hong, Lord, let the 2 young ones help you with that package. Xia Hong's expression turned quite peculiar upon hearing his suggestion. Lu Yun and Han Li were even more direct, eager to show their capabilities. Upon receiving Lu Yang's eye indication, they immediately stepped forward to help unload the package. No, no, no. Xia Hong hurriedly refused, but he was a step late. The package was already sliding off his shoulder. Lu Yun and Han Li instinctively reached out to catch it, but then, crack! Their arms dislocated with a cracking sound. If Xia Hong hadn't caught the package in time with his arm, it surely wouldn't have been just a dislocation. How can it be so heavy? Lu Yun and Han Li looked at the package, their expressions instantly turning dazed. The moment they saw Xia Hong easily resling the package over his back, their pupils trembled with shock and disbelief. If they can't carry it, let me do it, Lord. Seeing his disciples unable to even lift the package, Lu Yang frowned but still quickly stepped forward, ready to help Xia Hong personally. No, my package weighs over 20 million pounds, you can't carry it either. After saying this, seeing Lu Yang's face full of disbelief directed at him, Xia Hong shook his head and set down the package, hooking it with one hand while inviting him to experience the weight. Lu Yang, full of disbelief, walked forward, supporting the bottom of the package with both hands and tried to lift it up. Urgh! His face flushed red from exertion, yet he couldn't lift the package an inch. If he hadn't seen Xia Hong easily hooking it with one hand, he might have suspected Xia Hong was purposely holding it down. Over 20 million pounds this package. Ultimately, Lu Yang gave up, looking at the package with eyes full of astonishment. 10,000 pounds equating to 1 zong, over 20 million pounds equating to over 200 zong. If converted into Xianyang level power units, that would equal 2 jun, meaning without Xianyang level cultivation, it's impossible to lift this package, let alone carry it. Yet Xia Hong not only could carry it, but also could lift it with one hand. The key here was, after walking from Xia City to this point, roughly over 50 to 60 kilometers, Xia Hong remained perfectly composed. The Lord's strength, what level has it reached this? Recovering from his shock, Lu Yang's heart was filled with astonishment, his eyes ablaze with fervor and admiration as he looked at Xia Hong's back. Unlike him, Lu Yun and Han Li had no real concept of Xianyang level. Upon hearing the weight of over 20 million pounds, their expressions turned numb, reflecting disbelief and incomprehension. 2,000 million pounds, one package, how is this possible? It must be fake, but our master can't even lift it. From Xia City to Hankyang is only just over 100 kilometers, and then following the cold Jade secret tunnel up to the East Ridge headquarters is about 40 kilometers. The party of 4 quickly crossed this distance, arriving at East Ridge. Xia Hong didn't linger long at East Ridge. After meeting with Zhao Hu, Wang Tao, Zhu Shun, and other leaders of the East Ridge 8 departments, he departed for Jinshan Town. This time he no longer slowly journeyed, but instead lifted Han Li and flew directly towards Jinshan Town Yin Valley. Upon arriving at Yin Valley, he followed Han Li's directions and flew towards the location of Jinyang Village. Soon he arrived at Jinyang Village. Chapter 1335. Chapter 435. Yin Valley Bone Eroding Path. Han Peng's choice finally arrives. Jinshan Town is divided into 9 districts, and Yin Valley is the westernmost one. Although it's located on the far west, because a large part of Jinshan Town's territory is embedded into the Mo Mountain, this area is actually adjacent to Mo Mountain. No wonder it's named after a valley. I saw it when I flew over here. The mountain of Mo Mountain is significantly concave here, forming a large expansive valley, essentially a twin dragon valley expanded dozens of times right. At the northern end of Jinyang Village, Li Hu and Yang Zhang led Xia Hong deeper into the north side of Yin Valley, while enthusiastically introducing the situation of Jinyang Village to him. Upon hearing Xia Hong's question, Li Hu immediately nodded, saying, "The Yin Valley generally extends from north to south, and the overall area is unclear. However, the area controlled by Jinshan Town is about over 1,600 square kilometers, more than 30 kilometers wide from east to west, and over 50 kilometers deep from north to south. There are 23 village-level camps distributed, and several other medium and large camps as well. Jinyang Village is located at the deepest part of the north side of Yin Valley. More than 50 kilometers deep from north to south, the area controlled by Jinshan Town." After murmuring a sentence, Xia Hong looked north and asked, "Beyond 50 kilometers, the unexplored area of Jinshan Town, that's the road to Kaikiu, right?" Li Hu nodded and replied, "That's right. I've been here for more than a year, and I've already asked around. More than 20 years ago, Jinshan Town originally planned to continue expanding north along Yin Valley, which is the inner side of Mo Mountain. But after going 50 kilometers north along Yin Valley, they would pass through an area known as the Bone Eroding Path. That area has a constant black wind raging throughout the year." As the black wind raged, Xia Hong immediately thought of the black cloud area he saw in the north when he just flew to the Yin Valley region. He promptly turned his head and curiously looked at Li Hu, waiting for his next words. Li Hu obviously recalled some unpleasant scenes, with a hint of horror in his eyes. The black wind in the bone-eroding path is terrifying. It can instantly strip a person of their flesh and blood. Even if someone with cold resistance level goes in, there's no chance of survival. I only heard people in Jinyang Village say this before and didn't quite believe it. In May of this year, I took the opportunity to lead people to explore it myself. As Li Hu gradually recounted his exploration in May of this year, Xia Hong finally understood why he showed such an expression when mentioning the bone-eroding path. According to Li Hu, in May, he led people close to the edge of the bone-eroding path and saw the black wind area with his own eyes. He certainly wouldn't go in to probe himself, but took Yang Zhang and the hunting team to drive 3 intermediate Thunder Kui into the black wind region to test. The skin membrane defense ability of Thunder Kui is absolutely among the best among various cold beasts. The flesh and skin membrane of an intermediate Thunder Kui is enough to rival a human with cold resistance level cultivation. But even so, these 3 intermediate Thunder Kui had their skin membrane and flesh instantly torn apart and ripped off in mere moments, with nothing left but bones after just 10 breaths. The flesh and skin membrane were all stripped away by the black wind, leaving only bones. Xia Hong's pupils shrank suddenly, and a heavy expression immediately rose on his face. Li Hu nodded heavily. "That's right, we were shocked too at that time. The black wind seemed sparse and ordinary, no different from normal airflow. I even tested it with solidified fire oil and a small torch, but there was no reaction when thrown in." "This is interesting." Xia Hong lowered his head and contemplated for a moment, then turned to ask, "In March this year, shouldn't there have been a group of people coming over from Kaikiu? Did you see them?" Han Peng made it very clear last year, saying Kaikiu would link up with him twice a year, once in August, which is this month, and another time in March. Li Hu immediately replied, "I saw them. On March 25 this year, 4 people came from Kaikiu. We only know that the leader is called Kai Shiking, appearing to be in his early 40s, arrogant and imperious with his eyes above his head, extremely lecherous. His subordinates are weak. We could only roughly determine he is at the cold resistance level, unable to see through their exact strength. People coming from the feudal town naturally wouldn't be weak. Thinking of the group of 7 accompanying Chu Yanner, all with power over 20 zong, Xia Hong wasn't too surprised. However, hearing about Kai shiking from Li Hu, the anger in his voice was evident, so he turned his head curiously looking at him. "What, did you suffer a loss at Kai shiking's hands?" Li Hu's face suddenly showed a hint of embarrassment, saluting and said, "The Lord has keen eyes, I dare not conceal it. In March, as soon as this Kai shiking arrived, he immediately ordered Han Peng to gather the women in the village for him to choose from. I couldn't stand it, so I said a few words for Han Peng, and as a result, I got beaten." Upon hearing this, Xia Hong's face immediately sank. Yang Zhang, who stood hesitantly on the side, now came forward despite noticing Li Hu's signaling eyes to stop, but still gritted his teeth and spoke, reporting to the Lord, it wasn't just a simple beating. Kai shiking pierced his left chest with a sword, missing the heart by only half an inch, nearly costing his life. It seems that the people from Kai Q, feudal town, aren't any good either. Having Han Peng summon the women of the village for his selection as soon as he arrived, even without inquiring about the details, Xia Hong could roughly guess what was going on. This Kai shiking clearly was another arrogant fool, deluding himself with his noble origins, acting as if the entire 9 towns' territory was his backyard where he could do whatever he pleased. In extreme environments like the Ice Abyss, there never seems to be a shortage of such people. From years ago it was Bei Shuo, Yang Ning, and Li Hu. Then last year it was Chen Kang and Chu Yanner's group of 7. Now, it's this Kai shiking from Kai Q. Chapter 1336, Chapter 435, Yin Valley Bone Eroding Path, Han Peng's Choice, and finally, the long-awaited arrival /2. Xia Hong shook his head and sneered, "Cold resistance level cultivation, those 4 people of Kai shiking, they couldn't possibly have crossed the bone-eroding path on their own. They were most likely escorted. With such little strength, they think they can do as they please in the 9 towns, fools." This subordinate does not know. Those 4 came directly from the north, and even if there was an escort, we couldn't detect it. Li Hu, after all, only has the strength of an 18 zong. Of course, what he can see is limited. Xia Hong continued to ask, "I already heard from Lu Yang. In the intelligence you sent back to East Ridge, you mentioned those 4 of Kai shiking only stayed in Jinyang village for just over a month before leaving. Do you know where they went?" Li Hu immediately shook his head and said, "Forgive me, Lord, those 4 are too powerful. I didn't dare to track them, let alone send someone. However, although I am unsure of their whereabouts, I have already sent their portraits to Lord Lu. The moment they act within the Great Xia territory, they will surely be discovered." Xia Hong nodded, continuing his inquiry. "According to you, Kai shiking doesn't value Jinyang village at all, so Han Peng's loyalty to them should also be quite limited, right?" "Of course." Li Hu gave a definitive answer, sneering, "I don't know about the ones who came before, but judging from Kai shiking's behavior, Han Peng must resent him deeply. When I first arrived last year, I was wary of Han Peng, afraid he would betray us. But this March, after observing Kai shiking's conduct, I was reassured about Han Peng. Han Peng often chats with me, and KQ Fan just gives him some silver taels every year, never treating him as one of their own. Instead, Lord Lu has already sent him quite a few Yangyuan pills this year. Plus, with his grandson Han Li doing well in East Ridge, I think Han Peng harbors very little suspicion towards our great Xia." Only then did Xia Hong smile and nod, turning to look in the direction of the village. Han Li achieved 99th place in the youth group during this martial arts competition, and Great Xia has invested a lot of resources in him. As long as Han Peng isn't a fool, he'll know how to choose. Hearing about the martial arts competition, a trace of regret appeared on Li Hu's face. Although he has been in Jinyang village, he's heard the uproar about the 3 towns' martial arts competition and knows the rewards are extremely generous. Unfortunately, he's already 27 years old this year. If he were 2 years younger, he could have participated. No need to regret, at 27, with late-stage cold resistance cultivation and the strength of 18 zong, you're just a step away from the peak of cold resistance. Among peers in the 9 towns, your strength definitely stands out." Xia Hong saw Li Hu's expression and knew what he was thinking, smiling as he consoled him. After a pause, he seemed to remember something and took a small porcelain bottle from his pocket, tossing it directly to him. Lurking in Jinyang village isn't a particularly good assignment. It will take a long time for our great Xia to truly secure the 9 towns. It seems you'll have to keep an eye on the movements at KQ. Here are 30 dragon carp pills. Share them with Yang Zhang. Consider it a small reward. Eventually, back in Xia City, your accomplishments will be recognized and rewarded. Be assured this lord will not mistreat you. Li Hu accepted the dragon carp pills, and his face immediately showed a trace of excitement. He joined Yang Zhang in bowing respectfully to Xia Hong, exclaiming in unison, "Thank you, Lord, for the gift of the pills. We will devote ourselves to helping the Lord secure the 9 towns and clear all obstacles ahead." Hearing their words, a smile appeared on Xia Hong's face. With an 18 zong and another with 12 zong, this little strength aiming to help secure the 9 towns and clear all obstacles seems impossible. However, having the heart is enough. Strength will gradually improve and will eventually rise. You two go back. I'll first head over to the bone-eroding path to check the situation. Hearing this, Li Hu and Yang Zhang showed a trace of tension on their faces, quickly trying to dissuade. The bone-eroding path is dangerous. No one from KQ has come yet. The Lord must not venture alone. Don't worry. Xia Hong waved his hand, continuing, I'm just going to look. I only know one bone-eroding path. I wouldn't foolishly go in without knowing the routes further in. I'll take a look and come back. With KQ's contact coming to Jinyang village in August to accompany those people to KQ feudal town, it's obviously safer. Xia Hong understood this naturally. Hearing this, Li Hu and Yang Zhang felt much more at ease, yet still a bit unconvinced. Then, Lord, let us accompany you over there. After speaking without waiting for Xia Hong to refuse, the two led the way north. Xia Hong thought for a moment and did not refuse. Jinyang village is located in the 30 kilometers deep area of Yin Valley. It's just over 20 kilometers north to reach the bone-eroding path. With Li Hu and Yang Zhang's level of cultivation, it wouldn't take too long to go there and back. Almost 6 zong, not bad, not bad. Lear has greatly improved, haha. At the same time, Xia Hong was inquiring Li Hu and Yang Zhang about KQ's situation. In the main building of Jinyang village, Han Peng was finally meeting his grandson Han Li, whom he hadn't seen for a year. Seeing his grandson's strength increase by over 3 zong in a year, he couldn't stop smiling. On Han Li's side, he kept taking things out of his bag, introducing them one by one. Grandfather, this time I placed 99th in the youth group of the Great Xia Martial Arts Competition and was rewarded with a lot, including 50,000 silver taels. I've converted all of it into cultivation resources. Last year at Hongmen, you bought dragon carp pills at 100,000 silver taels each, right? I exchanged for them at the camp supply department in Xia City. A single one only required 50,000 contribution points, and I exchanged 10 for you. Look. Chapter 1337, Chapter 435. Yin Valley bone-eroding path. Han Peng's decision at last awaited. Han Li placed 10 dragon carp pills in front of Han Peng, and then continued to introduce 5 Yangyuan pills, 15 pounds of refined salt, 5 pounds of mid-grade cold blood wine. As he watched his grandson present one precious resource after another, and heard him talk about the prosperity of Xia City and the abundance of cultivation resources, Han Peng's expression grew increasingly shocked, while his pupils also showed a trace of determination, clearly having made some important decision. Lear, tell Grandpa, how has Lu Yang treated you this past year? Upon hearing this question, Han Li was briefly stunned, then his face filled with gratitude as he replied, Grandpa, my master has treated me very well, personally taught me martial arts, imparted many hunting skills and a lot of cultivation essentials. I've also gotten along well with my fellow apprentices, and additionally. In truth, having only been an apprentice for a year, Han Li was not qualified to participate in the martial arts competition in the Great Xia, especially when taking the East Ridge secret passage to Hankyang to reach the Great Xia. Han Li, now 24, was not foolish. The moment he learned his master Lu Yang was from the Great Xia people, he had figured out many things. After figuring it out, his first response was naturally gratitude for his master's trust. Reflecting on the past year, he had almost no resistance to his master's teachings and care, immediately accepting the fact of becoming a member of the Great Xia. Not to mention, having seen so much in Xia City, making him clearly realize that to go further on the path of cultivation, joining the Great Xia was undoubtedly the best choice. Grandpa, I've seen so much in the Great Xia, let me tell you, even Jinshan Town can't compare to it. We shouldn't stay here in Jinyang village anymore. Not only do we have to pay annual tributes to Jinshan town, but we also have to constantly worry about those bandits from the north. Grandpa, let's take the people from the village and join the Great Xia directly. I'll speak with my master. We'll go to East Ridge first, then to the Great Xia later. I'm sure my master will agree. Hearing his grandson continuously praise Liu Yang and the Great Xia, and even suggesting to bring the whole village into the Great Xia, Han Peng's expression was initially complicated. Then, looking at the 10 dragon carp pills in his hand, he showed a trace of relief, speaking in a deep voice. Lear, you don't need to worry about these matters. These cultivation resources, Grandpa doesn't need them. Keep them for your own use. In a few days, you should return to East Ridge to continue your cultivation with your master. For now, you don't need to concern yourself with the village's affairs. Han Li was stunned hearing this and quickly said, Grandpa, these dragon carp pills are specifically for you. What are you going to exchange them for if you don't take them? Enough, Grandpa is of such an age. Even with more dragon carp pills, at most, I'd only be able to enhance to above 25 zong. But you're different, you have a superior battle body. With your aptitude, you can naturally reach above 16 zong. With enough dragon carp pills, you could even surpass 40 zong in the future. Besides, you've joined the Great Xia with your master's support. Who knows, you might even reach Xianyang in the future. Listen to Grandpa and keep the Dan medicine. Han Peng, with a tone that allowed no refusal, pushed the Dan medicine back to him. Seeing Han Li's face full of confusion, he smiled and changed the subject. By the way, that young man named Hong Yu who came with you this time, I saw both Li Hu and Yang Zhang were so respectful towards him. He should be an important figure from the Great Xia, right? Hearing this question, Han Li's face immediately showed some hesitation. Xia Hong had instructed him on the way to not reveal his identity. While he was thinking about what lie to make up, Han Peng had already noticed his grandson's difficulty, smiled and waved his hand. All right, if it shouldn't be said, don't say it. You haven't been back for a year, go see your parents as well as Fenger and Linger. Let Grandpa be alone for a while. Hearing this, Han Li had no choice but to nod and went to see his parents and younger siblings. Han Peng watched his grandson walk away, and after a period of calm, he sighed slightly. 6 or 70,000 people, moving them all at once, how difficult. If Kai Q finds out I leaked information about them, it would be a disaster. Moreover, the Great Xia has specifically sent people here, clearly wanting me to continue monitoring Kai Q's movements. Even if I wanted to leave, I probably could. Han Peng pondered for a moment, his expression slightly revitalized, and he murmured resolutely, but danger also comes with opportunity. The Great Xia, willing to invest so many resources in Lear, values Jinyang village's position as well. People like Kai Q, though strong, are hot-tempered and stingy, not treating us as people. Rather than working for them, it would be better to serve the Great Xia. The feudal towns may be powerful, but not so much that the Great Xia cannot resist. The fact that they sent 2 talented young people like Li Hu and Yang Zhang shows the Great Xia's importance on my Jinyang. If I have to choose a side, it'll be the Great Xia. After making his decision, Han Peng exhaled a long breath, finally easing his mind, softly saying that Li Hu and Yang Zhang are just scouts. However, the young man named Hong Yu who came with Lear should be a high-ranking figure in the Great Xia. I don't know how long he plans to stay in Jinyang village. Better find him soon to express my loyalty. Xia Hong, under the alias Hong Yu, settled down in Jinyang village. On the 3rd night, Han Li returned to East Ridge alone, so only Li Hu and Yang Zhang knew his identity in the entire Jinyang village. Li Hu's Zheiyuan squad was already an advanced hunting team with a full capacity of 100 people. He only brought 10 people to operate in Jinyang village, while the remaining 88 people were dispersed among other village-level camps in Yin Valley. Chapter 1338, Chapter 435, Yin Valley Bone Eroding Path. Han Peng's choice finally arrived. Not to mention, the Great Xia now has such a large population that very few people have actually seen Xia Hong in person. By chance, none of those 10 team members of Li Hu had seen Xia Hong, so even without disguising his appearance, they didn't recognize his true identity. In the entire Jinyang village, the strongest person is Li Hu. Naturally, no one could see through Xia Hong's disguised strength. He displayed a power level of 15 manes and was quickly recruited into Yang Zhang's hunting team, joining their activities outside. Li Hu and Yang Zhang's work involved lurking, but they also had to make a living and earn money, meaning they had to go out hunting and gathering. Waiting was pointless, so Xia Hong decided to put in a little effort and help them hunt. From the 8th to the 20th, in 12 days, Xia Hong helped them hunt down 35 advanced cold beasts. This was already low-key enough, but for Jinyang village, it was still too astonishing and quickly caused a sensation. Half a month passed, and everyone in Jinyang village knew that Li Hu had a distant relative who was not only powerful but also had incredible hunting skills. For a time, everyone in the village flocked to him, and some busybodies couldn't help but inquire if he was married, trying to arrange a marriage for him. Xia Hong was understandably both amused and helpless. Realizing that his hunting prowess was causing the commotion, he simply stopped taking action afterward. Every evening, he would follow the hunting team out, targeting the northern area, watching the movements around the bone-eroding path, and helping Yang Zhang's team handle dangerous situations. Up until the 9th year of Great Xia, on August 25. Once again at night, 2 kilometers south of bone-eroding path, Yang Zhang was leading a group in besieging an advanced black demon antelope. Not far away, standing on a big tree and observing them, Xia Hong suddenly sensed something, turned his head to look north, and his eyes flashed slightly. Finally, it has come. It came on the 25th of March, and now in August as well. It seems that Kai Q visits on these 2 fixed dates every year. I'll head to bone-eroding path first, be careful you all. Yang Zhang, who was hunting the black demon antelope from a distance, heard the voice coming from his ear, and his expression turned slightly stern. After looking north, he immediately returned to the hunt. Whoosh whoosh. Deep within Yin Valley, a passage about 3 kilometers wide, the black wind howled incessantly. To the naked eye, the entire passage seemed to be filled with a frantically surging black fog, but just as the fog seemed about to rush out of the passage, it encountered some resistance and retreated. Suddenly, a flash of bright light appeared within the black fog. Soon after, a massive, intense, high-temperature fireball with a diameter of 100 meters slowly emerged from the fog. Inside that fireball, there were surprisingly over 50 people standing. Above those 50 people, a white-robed elder was suspended. From the intense flames emanating from the elder's body, it was evident that the fireball covering everyone was his creation. From the appearance of the firelight to leading the people out of the black fog area, it was less than 100 breaths' time. Once all 50-plus people had stepped out, the elder immediately withdrew the flames around his body and slowly floated to the ground. Finally arrived, thank you, Advisor Zhu. Most of the 50 people were middle-aged, with only about 10 young individuals. Strikingly, the first to speak was a young man in cyan clothing who seemed to be only 17 or 18 years old. The young man bore an air of arrogance between his brows. After exiting the bone-eroding path, he immediately turned to Advisor Zhu, the white-robed elder, and bowed in gratitude. Thank you for your hard work, Advisor Zhu. The rest quickly reacted as well, hastily following the young man's example, bowing in gratitude to the elder. This is just part of Zhu Yan's duty, young prince, no need for formalities. The youth's status was evidently extraordinary. Seeing him bow, the elder immediately returned the courtesy with a bow of his own, then paused and instructed everyone. The 9 towns territory still has some Xianyang-level individuals. The princely heir and all of you young masters entering so suddenly, you must be cautious. You can first visit Jinchen Lord Shangyuan Yang and Wuchuan Lord Qin Feng with a card of introduction. These 2 have old ties with Lord Governor and likely won't let you suffer any disadvantage in the 9 towns territory. Besides, at this point, Zhu Yan paused and continued in a cold tone. Chen Kang has already started undermining my Kai Q's reputation here in the 9 towns. The blood miasma plane is still quite a bit from being cleared. Although the 2 sides are still in a cooperative state, since Chen Kang is so eager to begin plotting, then I Kai Q must not fall behind. The princely heir and all of you must put in the effort. Firstly, to defend my Kai Q's reputation, and secondly. The young man who was addressed as the princely heir interrupted Zhu Yan with a loud voice before he could continue. Being a gracious host, Chen Yiking's skill at altering memories and throwing dirt is hardly worth mentioning. Since I've come, how could I let him continue his misdeeds? Rest assured, Advisor Zhu, I will not only clear Kai Q's name but also utterly tarnish Chen Kang's name in the 9 towns territory. Hearing the young man's words, a smile appeared on Zhu Yan's face as if he trusted him greatly, nodding. Then we await your excellent news, princely heir. I will rest here for a bit, and you, princely heir, can take them and head off first. Jinyang village is just over 20 kilometers away from here. Head south for a while and you'll arrive. Then I, Shiki, will take my leave. Advisor Zhu, we're leaving now. Farewell, Advisor Zhu. They. Kai Shiki led the group in taking their leave from Zhu Yan, directly speeding off to the south. After watching them depart, Zhu Yan turned back to look at the black fog within bone-eroding path, a hint of apprehension in his eyes, softly musing. If the Black Wind General is not dealt with, it may become even more troublesome than the blood miasma plane in the future. If only Lord Landgrave could spare a hand to deal with it. Saying this reminded Zhu Yan of something, prompting him to shake his head and sigh lightly. The Black Wind General's strength isn't the only concern. Even if Lord Landgrave comes, he might not be able to solve it, alas. He took one last look at the black wind within bone-eroding path and continued to close his eyes in meditation. Chapter 1339, Chapter 436, Kingsun Treasure Tree, Black Wind General and Toll, Blood and Rescue. The 9th year of Great Xia, August 25 at night. Woo woo woo. The sharp sound from the black wind's rampage in the bone-eroding path was akin to a whistle. In black attire, Xia Hong's brow appeared slightly heavy as he walked slowly northward. The black wind, like blades, swept randomly from all directions, and he cautiously maneuvered his bone energy to resist the assault of the bone-eroding black wind surrounding him. Zhu Yan's strength is only 19 jun at a distance of 2 kilometers. Without fully releasing my bone energy, he won't detect me. Though 2 kilometers exceeds my visual range, the temperature change he causes will leave traces, making it easy to follow him. Xia Hong looked northward and realized Zhu Yan was no longer visible. He furrowed his brow but quickly relaxed after pondering briefly, and continued forward along the area with higher temperatures. On August 6, as soon as he arrived at Jinyang village, he explored the bone-eroding path, so the black wind swirling around him now was not unfamiliar. The black wind, first and foremost, was incredibly strong, casually bringing a half-jun impact force. While the most violent airflow could reach over 2 jun, this impact force's airflow was not something to fly against. Even those slightly weaker in the Xianyang level found jumping difficult. Secondly, the sharpness was evident merely from the wind's whistling sound. Ordinary air compressed to this degree was nothing much, but accompanied by 2 jun force, it was terrifying. Finally, there was the temperature. Interestingly, the bone-eroding path flanked by the Mo mountain means the cold light from the sky couldn't penetrate, so the area should normally be warmer than outside. However, due to the black wind, the temperature here is several times lower than the outside world. Given these points, traversing here on one's own with cold resistance level is virtually impossible. Thus, Xia Hong had an inkling of why Kaiku didn't send troops southward knowing about this passage. The mountain bodies on both sides are likely tens of thousands of meters high, making crossing over nearly impossible. Even for the Xianyang level, flying across is impossible. With no other passage, Kaiku could only take the bone-eroding path. With 19 jun Xianyang level, being this cautious, there's no chance of deploying a large group here and... Xia Hong furrowed his brow as he examined the path ahead, his face thoughtful. Having followed Zhu Yan for an hour, they had moved northward about 15 kilometers. This speed, equivalent to crawling, was vastly different given the terrifyingly strong wind in the bone-eroding path. Xia Hong deliberately held back to trail Zhu Yan, but estimated that, at full force, he could cover roughly 40 kilometers in an hour. Zhu Yan's 19 jun strength, approximately half of Xia Hong's, had already pushed 17 kilometers forward, implying Zhu Yan had been moving at his limit since entering. So there's likely other dangers within the bone-eroding path, even requiring vigilance from the Xianyang level. After pondering briefly, Xia Hong showed a slightly heavy expression. He then took the shattered star sword from his pack, prepared it, and hung it on his waist before continuing to follow. Zhu Yan passed through, so he probably poses no great threat to me. Better cautious than reckless, though. Xia Hong continued trailing Zhu Yan for another 2 hours, experiencing increasingly stronger wind forces from half jun at the entrance, 2 jun at the 20-kilometer zone, to astonishingly over 5 jun at the 50-kilometer zone. Woo. No wonder after escorting those more than 50 people, he recuperated for 3 hours. Given this wind intensity, successfully escorting others was impressive. How did he manage to bring over 50 people? Xia Hong's ears ached from the black wind while keeping pace, his eyes filled with confusion. And Xianyang level can release bone energy to repel surrounding airflow, significantly raising body temperature. It's no secret. Zhu Yan seemingly used this method to traverse the bone-eroding path with 50 people. The problem was that, at this wind level, Xia Hong himself would struggle to escort 50 people. Yet Zhu Yan managed it with his 19 Jun strength. It must be some kind of Dan medicine that quickly restores bone energy. Xia Hong merely speculated briefly, before a splash of blue caught his attention in his field of vision. That's a tree. Not just a splash, it should be called a patch of blue. On the left and right ahead appeared a vast expanse of vegetation resembling trees. Saying they resemble trees is due to their trunk's straightness, truly identical to common trees, all blue with varied diameter thickness, the smallest about 5 or 6 meters and the largest over 10 meters, each over 100 meters tall. Like ordinary trees, they grow from underground. What's strange is their connection underground is through merely thumb-thick blue vine tendrils. Indeed, these trees were like seaweed swaying in the air, appearing ready to break free at any moment, yet held securely to the ground by those thumb-thick blue vine tendrils. Xia Hong gazed at the vine tendrils for a while, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 1340, Chapter 436, Kingsun Treasure Tree, Black Wind General and the Toll, Blood and Rescue /2. Such terrifying wind force. How frighteningly resilient must this green vine be to hold onto the trunk and prevent it from flying away. Not just the vine, but the fact that the main trunk isn't splitting under these conditions is remarkable. Moreover, on some of the green vegetation, there are green jade-colored fruits the size of a fist, which clearly aren't ordinary items. Right, the fact that it can grow in this environment already says a lot. This green tree must be a treasure all over. Xia Hong's eyes flashed with excitement. Noticing that Zhu Yan ahead was moving slowly, he wasted no time and headed directly towards the big tree. This Kingsun Treasure Tree, just one is worth millions of taels in silver. If I could chop and take a few back, I'd strike it rich. As Xia Hong lingered by the green tree in the rear, Zhu Yan 2 kilometers ahead was also intently watching the big tree, his eyes full of greed. However, he quickly thought of something, shook his head slightly, withdrew his gaze and kept moving forward. But after just a few steps, his face showed some confusion. The wind force in this core area seems to be stronger than usual. This airflow must be close to 5 Jun, right? Did I feel it wrong? Zhu Yan frowned, muttered a bit and quickened his pace a little. Whoosh! But he had barely taken 100 steps forward when a black burst of inner power was mixed in the wind, howling directly towards his face. As the black energy came at him, Zhu Yan's pupils contracted sharply. He unleashed his full aura instantly and swiftly drew the big saber from his waist to block it. Clang! The black energy clashed with the saber, and Zhu Yan was sent flying backward like a kite with a broken string, tumbling 5 to 60 meters away. Because he didn't stabilize himself immediately, he even spun several times midair before he landed forcefully, then promptly raised his head to look around, his face full of shock and fear. I've already paid half of the passage fee. As soon as I leave bone-eroding path, the other half will be paid immediately. Why attack me here? As Zhu Yan finished speaking, the fierce wind still raged around, with no response at all. But he dared not press forward. He just stood in place, keeping a wary eye around, his face tense to the extreme, clearly worried about that black wind attacking again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After a few breaths, countless black airflows suddenly accelerated their speed, converging crazily above Zhu Yan at 100 meters height. The black airflows seemed to gain life, and soon formed into a 6-meter-tall giant above his head. That 6-meter giant wore a black helmet and armor, with dense black gas continuously emitting from those parts like the face, neck, and wrists, which weren't covered by armor, resembling an ancient evil spirit. Just suspended midair under the helmet, a pair of ominous white pupils stared intently at Zhu Yan below. Despite not uttering a single word, Zhu Yan was already trembling slightly with fear. Zhu Yan's back was soaked with sweat, realizing the raging winds around were accelerating further. Understanding the Black Wind General's anger, he gritted his teeth, quickly lowered his big saber, clasped his hands and bowed respectfully to the sky, speaking respectfully. Advisor Zhu Yan of Kaiku Basui County pays respect to Black Wind General. Don't forget the other half of the passage fee after leaving. Scram. A low, gruff voice suddenly came from the Black Wind General. Zhu Yan shuddered with fear, and upon hearing the final word scram, he dared not show the slightest displeasure. He simply lowered his head and quickly headed north. Whoosh! As Zhu Yan retreated, the Black Wind General in midair slowly turned his head towards the south. His ominous white pupils narrowed slightly, and two streams of dense black gas suddenly spurted from his face. About 10 minutes later, another figure slowly approached from the south. The aura fluctuated a bit here. What's going on? Xia Hong had already sensed Zhu Yan's aura change, coming to where he had just been, looked around, and finding nothing but the black wind, he merely furrowed his brows slightly before continuing onward. Whoosh! He had barely taken 2 steps when his pupils suddenly narrowed. Quick as lightning, he drew the shattered star sword from his waist, a fierce look crossing his face as he swung back hard. Clang! Though his sword had struck a black airflow, it produced a harsh clash like metal striking stone. Something was clearly hidden in the black wind. Xia Hong immediately realized it. Without hesitation, the holy pattern between his brows appeared suddenly, and a glint flashed in his left pupil as he held the drawn shattered star sword, launching himself straight into the black mist. Whiz! The entity within the black mist clearly hadn't expected Xia Hong to dare to strike at him first, nor had he expected him to locate his position accurately amidst the pervasive black mist. Whoosh! The shattered star sword indeed made contact with something, leaving a long, fiery sword mark that appeared within the mist. Only the fluid dripping from it wasn't blood but even denser black gas. Audacious! A dull voice emanated from within the black mist, yet Xia Hong, who was 20 meters aloft, showed no hint of fear on his face. His left eye saw clearly that among the vast black fog, one area of the airflow was denser than the rest. Let's see what kind of ghostly thing you are. With a cold shout, Xia Hong again rushed towards that mass of air, his shattered star sword coated with solidified fire oil, creating a long sword trail in the air, thrusting directly towards that black mist mass.